missile barrage against Iran-backed rebel targets in Yemen.
The wave of ship and submarine-launched missile strikes against Houthi locations marks the fourth time in days the US has directly targeted the group, as violence that ignited in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war continues to spill over in the Middle East. The strikes were launched from the Red Sea and hit targets the command deemed an imminent threat. The hits followed an official announcement on Wednesday that the US has put the Houthis back on its list of specially designated global terrorists. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
It didn't take Pakistan long to retaliate for Iran's attack on targets inside Pakistan. The Pakistani Air Force has bombed what are said to be terrorist hideouts in Iran. A couple of Republican lawmakers think that New Mexico's Democrat governor is ripe for impeachment, running afoul of the Second Amendment.
Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham invoked emergency public health orders last year, suspending the right to carry firearms in some public places in greater Albuquerque, such as parks and playgrounds. The order was in response to a spate of gun violence. Now Republican Representatives Stephanie Lord and John Block have filed a resolution aimed at initiating impeachment proceedings against Lujan Grisham. The Republicans say the governor has violated her oath of office to uphold state and federal constitutions. Lord says the governor has too much power and is acting like a dictator. I'm Donna Warder.
From the Midwest to the Northeast, forecasters warn that more wintry weather could make travel challenging in the coming few days. Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., among the major East Coast cities, could be in for measurable snowfall before the end of the week. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 74 points. NASDAQ futures up 124. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
John Solomon provides exclusive reporting and newsmaker interviews on John Solomon Reports on the Salem Podcast Network.
We broke this story because we got the documents early. They put out this new information, and it affirms our reporting that this Democrat donor gave about $5 million or more in assistance to Hunter Biden. Basically paid off his bills.
Subscribe to John Solomon Reports today on Apple, Spotify, Google, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
A religious painting displaying the former Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin has been removed from the main cathedral in the Georgia capital following a public outcry.
The Georgian Orthodox Church said the icon featuring the blessing of Stalin by a Russian saint, Matrona, who was canonized in the late 1990s, would be amended, as there was insufficient evidence that a meeting between them had ever happened. The discovery that the icon was on display in Tbilisi's Holy Trinity Cathedral has prompted a backlash in Georgian society. An activist whose ancestors were executed in Stalin's purges threw paint at the icon. Historians say Stalin, an avowed atheist, was responsible for the mass killings of tens of thousands of church clerics and believers.
The BBC's Rehan Dimitri. Sweden's government says Iran arrested a Swedish citizen in late November. Authorities not identifying the man, saying that he was arrested without a clear reason. Townhall.com. The Biden administration approves a $1 billion aid package to keep California's last nuclear power plant running for another 6 years.
Environmental activists have been trying to get PG&E's Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant shut down for decades over concerns about dangerous radioactive waste and safety in an earthquake zone, but an agreement to close the reactors next year was voided by the legislature. The federal government finalized approval of a $1.1 billion Energy Department package to keep the plant operating until at least 2030. The plant produces approximately 8% of the state's electric energy, serving around 3 million people. California Governor Gavin Newsom and a report from the California Energy Commission say the plant's power is needed to ward off blackouts, with other gas power plants being shut down and climate change stressing the state's energy system. I'm Jennifer King.
Israeli President Isaac Herzog says normalizing ties between Israel and the Saudis is a key element of ending the war with Hamas. More details, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes, sir.
It's better.
It is.
It's better.
It's consistent now.
Yeah. It's not 100% me, but and to be honest, when I have to push it like this,
yeah,
it gets more like this. If I can just somehow figure a way to talk normal,
not have to project,
not radio mic, just
right.
mic, it's not so bad.
Well, if you pot you up, then you can just talk quieter, right? It's the NPR approach.
Right.
If you bring your mic all the way to the top of the pot, then you can just go ahead and sit there and talk like this.
Hi, and welcome to NPR.
Hi. This is All Things Considered. We've considered it all. And now, it's your turn. So you gotta go soft with it.
We don't sell commercials, but we will hawk you for money every 5 minutes.
That's right.
Because we need money from people like you. I got to work on that.
You have no idea how much it costs to run a radio station. Neither do we, but we'll take what you'll give us.
We find out if we talk in more subdued tones, you'll be more likely to empty your wallets into our...
You know, we joke about NPR, but I never listened to like NPR itself, but there was one program on National Public Radio that I enjoyed vehemently.
Yep.
Prairie Home Companion. I loved Garrison Keillor back in the day, obviously back in the day because he was live. But that show, it sort of like molded my comedy, my comedic sense.
I get it. There's like NPR, there's parts on there. You know, I love story times and X, but you know, as a child or teenager, when you're like, all right. I remember as a kid, I got to tour in D.C., the PBS station there in D.C.,
Oh, yeah?
And theirs was a combo TV and radio.
Okay.
So they had the PBS TV stuff. So you got to see that side of it. But I did get to see radio, the NPR side. And that was cool. That's when I learned that they used a lot of egg crating like stuff in radio studios. Not ours, because they charge ungodly amounts of money for stuff that looks like egg crate to put on the walls of your building.
Right.
But when you're NPR and you have listeners like you can put that up there.
That's right.
So
thanks, listeners like you.
But it was pretty cool. But as a guy that is a radiophile, and I was then too, that was top 2-3 field trips.
Oh yeah.
As a kid for me all time was to go tour PBS and NPR and all that stuff.
It's funny. In a lot of those field trips, you always see the one kid in the class like light up, like, we're going to the box factory. It's like, that kid's going to be a box maker one day.
That's right.
You can pick him out in the crowd.
Should have seen us the day they sent us to go visit the police station and the jail.
It divided the class, admittedly.
It was like, who wants to go into the holding cell? You see who rushed to raise their hand.
I actually, when I was in preschool, the Head Start that I went to in Medill, Oklahoma, was a converted sheriff's office. So our preschool classroom had a holding cell.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. We used to play with in there all the time.
That's kind of like here in Roswell, where our police department is a converted bank.
Yeah.
So in theory, you could throw a criminal in the vault.
Yeah. It's really all about upcycling. That's what we're doing. We're upcycling.
That's right. Actually, have you ever toured the Roswell Police Department?
No, is it still? Are there still bank components in it?
Yeah. I've been in there. I wasn't arrested, you jerks. I was there for Leadership Roswell. Y'all were thinking, what'd you do? No, I was there for Leadership Roswell a few years ago. We got to tour the place, and it's cool. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like you know how you watch like interrogation videos or any of those on YouTube, and you see the rooms, and they're very stale, very white, very clinical almost. You know, with the very, very pedestrian chairs,
the
very
one
pedestrian.
table with the bar to handcuff to.
Not ours. It looks like a loan office building, room. You know, you walk in there and it's like decor from, granted, 30 years ago.
Sure.
But yeah, it looks like all you need is like a fat guy with a cigar sitting there.
A stand-up ashtray.
Right. So it looks a little different that way. But
okay.
But and then of course the vaults are used for like storing evidence and I'm guessing whatever they keep valuable things in. But yeah, it's you walk around and there's still elements of a bank like oh, that's where I'm supposed to go see the teller over here. Now it's like a check-in desk or something.
Because that's the thing that's always I've always been interested about that our police station is they don't use the front. And the front is just the facade. I guess technically the front is the back.
Yeah, well, they got they call that the porch or the vestibule or whatever, and that's where they are mostly intaking.
But the facade on the 2nd Street side of things, I mean, it looks like there's really nothing happening in that side of the building.
Yeah, it just looks like a bank.
Yeah. It's very nonchalant.
That's right. It's the mullet of buildings.
It's the mullet of buildings. Well put. There you go.
Business up front, parties all in the back.
That's right.
That's right. But happy Thursday, everybody. It is me, almost me.
It's doggone close.
That's right. We do have a full slate for you for today's show. Matt Bristol is back. He was here early and said, "You sound like crap. We should do this later." And we're doing it later. So here's Matt to join us, and we'll talk sage legal advice as we do every time Matt Bristol joins us here. So that'll be here in just a few minutes. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, we're going to replay an interview. Mr. John from Oasis Computers popped in for a visit yesterday to talk tech with us. He always so he's given us the latest on Microsoft making everybody want to punch your computers. So he talks the latest on updates and all that. So and what you can do to not punch your computer. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, it's kind of Law and Order Day here. We got Matt Bristol this hour. We're going to have the folks from the 5th Judicial District Attorney's Office joining us for their monthly visit. I'm not sure if it'll be lead investigator or one of the deputy DAs or both, or it could be the DA. Sometimes Diana pops in and says, "Hi, how you doing?" for a visit too. So depending on who's free today. I don't know, is Thursday a busy day on court dockets? No, so we might get the big guns too. Who knows? But anyway, we'll be joined by the district attorney's office here in the 9 o'clock hour. And then, of course, we'll have all of your features that include the newses of the local and national variety, Wall Street business updates, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. By the way, Matt and I were just chit-chatting and noticed our governor's in the national news this morning. We missed that. So,
Why this time now?
Actually, some people want to throw some impeachment proceedings at her. This goes back to the gun orders that she issued back, was that last year?
Well, and she tried to do it again, too. She tried to extend it.
She did. I think she successfully extended it, didn't she?
It was just like a week ago. They were talking about.
I thought the New Mexico Supreme Court was talking about this the other day, and they pretty much said, yeah, she's good to go. I thought I remember like last week, I thought.
Wow.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misheard some stuff. I don't know. But anyway, a couple of our New Mexico legislators are throwing impeachment proceedings at the governor.
Fun times.
That was in the news. So if you can get through this, listen to me like this for the next 45 minutes, you can hear it again here. It is 7:15. Let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty mild today, but it will be cooling off for the upcoming weekend. We have a cold front on the way. For now, sunny and about 70 and a little bit breezy today. We'll drop into the mid and upper 20s with clear skies for the overnight hours. A lot cooler on Friday. We will keep the sunshine, but our afternoon high stays in the low 40s. Low 40s on Saturday, upper 40s on Sunday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. The National Weather Service website that I normally go to get your temps and all that's being what we like to call ornery. So I'm at I don't know which one this is. I think it's weather.com or one of these. And they don't give me all the details I always like, at least accessible. But for today, I expect a high of 70. That's right. Remember, it was supposed to be, it was like 36 2 days ago. Well, today we're looking at plenty of sunshine with a high of 70. A little breezy. Winds will be out of the northwest, 10 to 20 miles per hour today. Tonight, we're looking at a few passing clouds with an overnight low of 29 degrees. Winds will be a little breezy out of the north, 10 to 15 miles per hour. For you Friday, we're back down to the temps we were earlier in the week. 41, our high tomorrow. 23, the overnight low. Looking at some AM clouds. Sun for the afternoon. Winds will be out of the southeast. Right around 10 miles an hour, it looks like. For Saturday, we're going to be looking at a high of 44 with an overnight low of 26 under mostly cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the southeast around 10 to 15 miles per hour. For Sunday, we're looking at cloudy skies with a high of 51, overnight low of 32. Looking at winds will be out of the southeast at around 10 miles per hour. And Monday, when you head back to work and school, we'll be back up into the mid-60s for a high. 64 there, 36 for an overnight low. Skies will be mostly sunny with winds out of the south at around 10 miles per hour. And it looks like we'll be floating in the upper 50s for most of the week. 58, 57, something like that, at least through the weekend is what they're saying right now. All right, it is 17 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we're going to have Matt Bristol join us from Bristol Law on the other side. Don't go away.
Pecos Valley Production is excited to announce their online ordering has never been easier because now you can order from PVP online in Spanish. Simply head for PecosValleyProduction.com and switch the tab on the bottom left of your screen from English to Spanish. Now it's never been easier to get access to the healing and calming products you need simply and affordably. Just log on to PecosValleyProduction.com and switch the tab on the bottom left of the screen from English to Spanish. Pecos Valley Production. Dairy to dank since 2016. Must be 21 or over with valid ID to purchase.
Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell.
Most of us want to be perceived as successful. We want the world to know that we're smart, athletic, pretty, or maybe even a little funny. We yearn to be great at something. In our dreams, we're often the world's greatest teacher or quarterback or model or comedian. Unfortunately, if we're honest with ourselves, we'll probably never be the greatest. It's simply unattainable for most of us. We also find that even when we are great at something, it's unsustainable. It's inevitable that someday someone else will be better at it than we are. So what do? We should always strive to be and to do our best, but maybe we need to step back and make sure we're successful in the eyes of Jesus. Jesus defined true success with 2 simple phrases: love God, love everybody else. This defines true success, when we become everything that God wants us to be. After all, God doesn't need another Patrick Mahomes or Blake Shelton. What he does need are representatives sharing his love in this world.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Turtles can breathe through their butts. We imagine you know some people who do that too, because that's where their heads reside. here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 19 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, Matt Bristol with Bristol Law. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Mike. You're sounding a lot better than you did on Monday.
I do. I'm not 100%, but and it's effort, less effort. That's why I can talk and have a back and forth without feeling like I just did a workout or anything.
Yeah, Monday you were really, really bad. I'm glad we gave you a rest.
And that was pretty good compared to the week before. So this is almost. Jeez. I feel almost normal. Like I don't feel like I'm some weirdo invalid and everybody walks in the room like, where's that guy? But anyway, for folks not familiar, because usually we talk to Matt on Mondays. So if you're not a normal tuner into Monday mornings in the 7 o'clock hour, Matt Bristol joins us each month from his office, Bristol Law, and he is an attorney, deals with family law, things like that. But we kind of talk a little bit of all kinds of law here. Yeah. And of course, just gives sage legal advice when it comes to financial planning, when it comes to knowing legally what to do with your money, whether it comes to being a business or a family. We'll talk a lot about estate planning, things like that. Things that Matt sees a lot in his practice, that if people took some of this advice, Matt would make less money each year as an attorney because he would have a few less caseloads.
Pretty much, yeah. But it keeps me in business, so that's a good thing.
Business is good, and but in the meantime, maybe Matt can save you a little time hassle and save you a little headache down the road.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything, like you're saying, and we do estate planning. We've done consumer bankruptcy. We do family law, all sorts of aspects of family law, for example. And so every once in a while in the family law arena, you'll have somebody come in and they'll say, well, I want sole custody of my kids. And I'll ask them, okay, so what does that mean to you? And I get all sorts of weird answers. I don't know so you're a lay person. What would you think sole custody means?
Well, to be honest, the way I interpret sole custody is one parent is the guardian of said child and is in charge of all access to this kid, to the others, basically, and usually it's, when I see it, it's because one of the two parties is not fit to raise the kid. So when I hear that, it's because they want no contact with the other party.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll say exactly that. Well, I don't want my ex to ever see the kids, and so good luck with that. I mean, unless they're on meth or a registered
right, you have
child
to be
offender.
you have to prove that they're like a danger to society.
Oh, yeah.
To really qualify for that.
Yeah, it's got to be a really, really extreme example. Well, New Mexico actually has two kinds of custody. So one is the statute's called physical custody, but the court likes to refer to it as time sharing because time sharing is a lot less emotionally charged word than the C word. So one type of custody is time sharing. How much do the kids spend with each parent?
Gotcha. Because that's when you hear terms like joint custody.
Well,
is that kind of in that frame, or is that different?
That's different.
Okay.
The word joint is used in a different sense.
Okay.
So the other custody we have is called legal custody, and that's where we use the word joint.
Okay.
So joint legal custody is presumed by statute to be best for the kid, and that has to do with decision making. Because back in the bad old days, when the kid lived mostly with mommy and dad had Tuesday night visits, say, and mom would go sign the kid up for karate on Tuesday nights. And dad was like, what's up with that?
What are you going to deny the kid karate?
Yeah.
So it's it's a tactic.
Yeah. So now with joint legal custody, all decisions affecting the child have to be joint decisions.
So in theory, and I'm getting a little what if here, but say mom wanted to sign their kid up for karate on Tuesday night. With this, does in essence the karate people have to have both mom and dad's signatures to let the child play karate? Is that is that too in the weeds here?
Yeah, I don't know if the karate people, excuse me, know that or not.
Okay.
Excuse me. But mom is not supposed to sign the kid up for karate without talking to dad. It
Gotcha.
A joint decision. Say join the chess club. Got to be a joint decision. Choice of religion's a joint decision.
Gotcha.
In theory, the kid can't even join the church choir without it being a joint decision of the parents.
How does that work for like healthcare and stuff? Because obviously it's joint, but say there's an emergency situation. I mean, I guess in a normal marriage, one or both can sign to permit to. So I'm guessing that's probably.
Yeah, if there's an emergency, you take care of the emergency.
Yeah, I just didn't know, because when you get to kids and they have to do some kind of procedure on them, you got to get permissions to do those things.
Right. So if a kid has some kind of elective medical event, then that's supposed to be a joint decision. But if the kid's broken his arm, I mean, you take him straight to the ER.
I didn't know if there was we can't set it till Dad says it's okay.
No. But joint legal custody also means that both parents have access to medical records. They both have access to school records. They both have equal access to all parts of the child's life.
One can't deny the other that information. When one calls the doctor to find out the status,
correct,
they get the information.
Yeah. Yeah, so doctors' offices are usually pretty aware if there's a joint legal custody situation that the other parent calls up and asks questions. Yep, they got to answer the question.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And then time sharing is... So, the judge is going to alternate weekends as much as possible, depending on work schedules. So time sharing really revolves around work schedules.
Sure.
And so if you got someone that works in the oil patch, say, and they're like 10 days on, 3 days off, well, guess when they're seeing the kids? On the 3 days off.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if, parents...
So you can't really make a set schedule per se. It's like every other weekend, because that just doesn't work in that world.
Right.
Yeah.
In that particular world.
Yeah.
Both parents have, Monday through Friday jobs, then they're going to alternate weekends. Yeah. The court's going to alternate holidays in some fashion. And so really what it boils down to is where's the kid Monday through Friday? And again, that's going to predominantly fall on work schedules.
Sure. Who's available more? More than likely will be the one that's responsible for the child during that time. So
yeah. So I had a case where I represented mom of child, and there was a father of child, and then so father of child wanted like 50-50 time sharing. So even if it's 50-50 time sharing, we don't use the word joint. We don't use the word joint on the legal side.
It's like a vacation home.
So my client says, well, but he works all the time. Okay, what does work all the time mean?
Yeah.
So we get his pay stubs, and he's working 80 hours a week. I mean, lots of overtime. Well, how's he going to have the kid when he's working 80 hours a week and he lives in Roswell but works in Artesia?
Exactly.
So now you got that drive every day. And so it just wasn't practical for him to have the kid Monday through Friday because he's working, 12-hour days.
Kid'll be home alone. Yeah.
So he was a little unreasonable in that regard. Now, if he'd cut his hours or something, okay, we'll talk. But so really work boils down to, work schedules. And when I try to bring people down to that level, it takes a lot of emotion out of it, I hope. I'm trying to take that emotion out.
Well, you really, really hope for families, and this is where it gets away from the legal, and let's act like adults here. You really hope that those families can work out some of those details without the court's help. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you work 80 hours, but look, I know you're off the next 2 days. I'll bring the kid over and you can have the kid for the 2 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would hope they could work that out to okay, we can set guidelines here and set parameters, but at the end of the day, can you all be adults and do a little give and take when the circumstances change in your schedules?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And actually, that is the preferred method. So the written order of time sharing in the court's eyes is actually Plan B. Plan A is just as you're saying, the parents are flexible, they work things out. So I got a free day off, can I see the kid? Or, can you switch with me on a particular day? Something's come up. If the wife wants to go shopping with the girls in Albuquerque, then she should call dad and say, hey, you want to flip weekends or do something. So in the court's eyes, that's the only written order that the parties can both agree to ignore.
Gotcha.
And the court wants the parents to work things out.
They encourage you to do that.
Oh, yeah. But getting there is sometimes a hard process.
Absolutely. Well, depending on how emotional the divorce is, absolutely. If emotions are high, then guess what? This one's going to be a dog fight to work out the details. But if everyone's calmer heads or there's a little less animosity there, or at least they can put that aside for the sake of the children, then things tend to work a little bit smoother.
Yeah, and I ask people, Mike, do you really want some guy in a black robe who doesn't know you, doesn't know your kid, making this decision.
Exactly.
It's your kid, and you got a spouse or other parent, and you guys need to decide what's best for your kid, not some stranger.
Well, and also too, when life changes and when things change, it's a lot easier for you to change it between the two of you than getting the judge involved to change it.
Yep.
To change it, it's just a matter of a conversation between you two. Now we got to get lawyers involved, court involved, and petitions involved, and all kinds of things.
Well, there's the financial cost.
Yeah.
There's an emotional cost on both parents. There's an emotional cost on the child, and surely there's got to be an easier way to do this, folks. If somebody just kind of acts a little mature.
The biggest piece of advice you can get when you're dealing with this stuff is look. I know emotions get high, but let the calmer head prevail. It will work things out at the end of the day so much better, even if you don't get the total outcome you want, because you're dealing with family blood here. You're dealing with children, and there is no, line in the sand type emotional stuff in human nature than that right there. So it just is.
And I remind people that, until somebody passes away, you're stuck together. So when that kid goes through 6th grade graduation or 7th grade graduation or high school graduation, prom and all that kind of stuff, your birthdays, you're stuck for a long, long time. And to be able to start now to, concede, make agreements, get along in a business sense at least, it's going to make their lives a whole lot easier in the future.
Yeah.
Because at some point, Matt's out of the picture, but those people are stuck together for a long time.
Absolutely. You will be dealing with them the rest of your lives.
That's
just
right.
The nature of the beast.
After college, who they see on Thanksgiving or Christmas and grandkids. And so if people can learn to, at least in a business sense, work things out.
And I know we're starting to get a little to the therapy side more than the legal side here, but how I just my 50 years of being on this earth and seeing how humans do things is where I come from this piece of advice. How you interact with your significant other and how that whole process will greatly impact your relationship with your children. Mm-hmm. Because when you two fight, you're in essence forcing your children to pick sides.
Right.
And that's going to create animosity. That's going to create deep seedings that may not bubble to the surface now, but 20 years from now, when your child is an adult and they're living their lives and doing their things, that might impact your relationship with them.
Oh, absolutely.
These are the things you need to consider that it's really hard to see when you're hyped up in the emotional side of things. So that's really what, I'm just like, you got to think big picture in terms of these. If your head is not in the big picture at the end of this, you're probably going to come out with an outcome that you're not too happy with.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there are some parents, they try to use the child as a weapon against the other parent, or they send messages to the kid, and that's going to backfire. The kid's going to resent that. Seen cases where the kid misbehaves, didn't do their homework, didn't study for the exam. It's like, okay, so your punishment is you can't see your dad this weekend. And that is absolutely wrong in the court's eyes. That is not the proper way to punish the child.
Absolutely.
By depriving the other parent of his time with the child.
Yeah.
So it's, a little adult perspective would be a good thing.
Yeah. And I get it. Sometimes you learn these things on the fly. How you think, this is the beauty of people that have gray hair or no hair, like Matt and myself. We probably screwed up 3 or 4 times to get to this point where we're telling you the right thing. You know what I mean? That's that wisdom of life sometimes.
Well, and so I've seen cases where, it's a young child, a divorce with young children, but I've seen cases where they've been divorced 10 or 12 years, the kids are teenagers. And so you see at different stages what has developed from good behaviors and early on or bad behaviors early on.
She was curious in generalities here, because you do handle a lot of these kinds of cases where you're dealing with the family feud, so to speak, here on this. Is there a single 1 or 2 items that are always the crux in every one of these situations? Is there a commonality there that you're just like, I don't know if it's an emotional thing or it's it's a line in the sand or just a mindset that one party has that is consistent in all these that really is kind of that key to making this difficult versus something that's a little bit more manageable?
No one thing. So if there's infidelity in the marriage, the other parent is going to want the kids, and the other parent, then the non-faithful spouse, well, they shouldn't see the kid. They weren't faithful, and so it doesn't work that way. A lot of times we see where there's a divorce with a young, especially a baby under the age of, say, 5, and dad wants 50-50 custody or time sharing, and mom says, hell, he never spent that much time with the kid when we were married.
Right.
I did the diapers. I put the kid to bed. I fed the baby. I bathed the baby.
You're a parent in name only over here, and I'm doing all the legwork, basically.
He didn't spend an hour a day with the kid. Now he wants 50-50. What's up with that?
Right.
And the answer is, well, the court's going to give him a second chance, and moms don't want to hear that.
Well, and unfortunately, it probably gets into a case where the only way dad or mom, whoever the party is, that the other party here, would get less of that is if a child abuse situation happens under their care at that point.
Yeah. So there's so if there's child abuse, if there's meth, then the judge is going to do something about that. Fortunately, we don't see a whole lot of that, but sometimes there's a parent with a personality disorder,
right? A mental health issue or something,
and that mental health issue or personality disorder, which involves actually some kind of mental abuse of the child simply because of the disorder. So it's not a smack the kid around with your fist kind of thing, but it's more mind games with the child just because of the disorder.
Now, kind of getting back to the because we kind of talked about sole custody here at the beginning and what that means and all that, or what you think it means. And I kind of mentioned, you talk about, unless one parent is not fit. So is really the only criteria that the law looks at in terms of a parent being fit or not fit to raise the child? Is it physically, if it's either they have a drug issue or in jail or, currently wanted or criminal, are those the only, or an abuse issue? Are those the big ones, or are there other factors that can actually disqualify a parent for custody?
Yeah, those are the big ones. So if there's a parent who is basically homeless, maybe they're living in a place that
don't have amenities to support a child.
They should be red tagged.
Okay.
Some of the utilities are cut off. There's no food in the refrigerator. They don't have a steady job for more than 3 or 4 days.
That's probably a gray area, right? Because it's like, okay, well, the utilities are work. I mean, because not everybody lives in the same lifestyle of living. Is that a dirty house or is that a non-functioning house? And probably dirty's not necessarily the big factor unless it's a health and safety violation. But they don't keep house good enough is not a cause for being abusive, I'm thinking.
Well, but there's ranges of what's the definition of a dirty house. So if they don't pick up the clothes off the floor, okay, they got a messy house maybe. But if there's, dirty diapers on the floor, if there's animal feces on the floor, if there's food and pizza boxes with pizza still in them on the floor.
Stuff that can get people sick if they go in there.
Now we're saying that's not a good environment for the child.
Right.
Now you're bordering maybe they're not an evil parent, but they're just...
And that's why I was kind of delineating that, because, that's the devil's in the details on that one, because I'm sure there's going to be accusations there. Right. Oh, look, he's got this, and she's got this going on, he's got this going on. Uh-huh. And then the other side is like, no, I don't do the dishes every day, and sometimes I got a stack of dishes in there.
Well, let's say mom's a health nut, and then dad says, okay, let's go to McDonald's. And mom says, well, that's an unhealthy lifestyle. And the judge is going to say, well, it's a different lifestyle, but lifestyle choices don't make bad parents necessarily.
That's true. It's true. Opinions on how to raise the kid not necessarily qualify or disqualify if you were being unfit to raise the child.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're the parent. You're responsible for raising this child. How you do that is your business. As long as it doesn't impact, negatively the child, you know?
Yeah, I had a case where Judge Romero appointed me to mediate between two divorcing parents. I think the girl was 14. And so dad had this written out time-sharing schedule. It was very good. And so I said, okay, well, let me talk to the mom. And mom says, nope, daughter didn't want it. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk to the daughter. And so when the 14-year-old came in, I had one of my staff ladies come in too, because I'm not about to be alone in the room with a minor child.
Right.
And so I'm, young lady, your dad's written this out, and it looks very nice. It's well written. It's very fair. She says, I don't want to do it. And I said, well, he's your dad. And pretty soon, man, she's bawling her eyes out.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, shit. What happened?
Right.
And he had a personality disorder. And so one time they're driving to Artesia highway speed and getting some argument, and he's driving. And he leans over her, opens her car door at 65 miles an hour and says, well, if you don't like it, get out. Yeah. And then another time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then another time, I don't know what was going on, but they were in a car. It was stopped and some argument. And he reaches under his car seat, pulls out his pistol and says, well, maybe I'll just shoot myself.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was out there. So I wrote up a report to the judge and said, she should only see the guy when she wants to. And the guy had a mental disorder.
Right.
Personality disorder.
And that's kind of where it kind of steers me into the next kind of in this world here. When we talk about the children, is there legal? I mean, each case is probably way differently, but is there legal criteria for how much say a child has in these decisions? And I mean, obviously age of the kid and all that comes into play here, but is that by judges, how much weight that carries, or is there some legal stature that judges have to follow to say, well, this is what the kid wants. By law, that's what I should. I mean, how does that come into play?
So the law says paramount is what's in the child's best interest. And then there are certain statutory considerations. The judge is supposed to consider the age of the child, how close the child is with each parent. And there's like 8 or 9 factors the court's supposed to consider in these cases. Now, at the age of 14, the child's wishes must be considered by the court, but the word is considered.
Gotcha.
Okay.
There's no legal obligation to abide by that.
The judge does not have to follow what the kid wants. Otherwise, the kids are going to be, well, Dad will give me a car if I go live with him, so I'm going to tell the judge that. So the judge is required to consider the child's wishes, but not to necessarily follow the child's wishes.
Gotcha. So it really depends on the judge how much, and this is where the judge has his or her spidey senses and kind of, all right, this looks like it. I leave them with them, it's going to be a bad situation. Maybe go, just kind of feel the room a little bit and use their skills to kind of determine what's best there.
Well, and see, some kids, I had a 12-year-old actually one time interview with the judge down in Carlsbad. Oh, I forget his name, a long time ago. And so she walks into his room and chambers, and she tells him how the cow ate the cabbage, just flat out, blah, this is what I want. And you get some kids get in there and they get nervous and they stutter or they don't tell the complete story.
And you wonder how much behind the scenes each parent is in the kid's ear, pulling them in left or right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's more common than not common in some way, shape, or form.
And some parents are that way, but again, that's one of those things that in the long term will backfire.
Absolutely.
I'd much prefer, okay, let's see how much we can agree on. The judge is going to alternate weekends. Let's agree to that. Somehow the holiday's going to be split. Let's talk about, get that done. And let's agree on as much as we can and find as little to disagree about as possible. And then go in there and say, hey, Judge, we figured all this out except this one thing. And we just need you to flip a coin and use your wisdom and spidey sense. And,
sure. Be the arbiter in this one.
Yeah, but it's really, really bad to go into court and spend 3 hours throwing trash at the other parent.
Absolutely.
Because now you're stuck together the rest of your lives, and you're going to have all this bad feelings. It's just not good, folks.
You know, you get it. And this is where the part where, you know, you as a lawyer, you kind of look like legally this is here, but, you know, take my lawyer hat off for a minute. If you guys can, you know, I get it. Y'all couldn't get along as a married couple. It didn't work out. We get it. But let's, you know, it'd be one thing if it was just, you know, the two parties here going their separate way. But because of this marriage, you've created a third of you, a part that is both of you now. And so now for the rest of your lives, you've got that thing. And 99.99999% of the time, both parties are going to go through a war for that other person. You know what I mean? You know, most parents are going to die for their kids.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just, you know, that's the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can agree that we're willing to die for this kid, can we at least put our differences aside to say what's best for not you, not me, but our children or child? And if you do nothing in this divorce but make that decision, this will get so much easier, and you will have a much more positive outcome at the end of this. You still may not like each other, still may want to hang out, but at least you both can agree that priority one is the children that marriage created.
Absolutely.
If the marriage was south, but there's still a chance for the best thing that came from it to thrive, flourish, and have an amazing life. And it all will start on how you two can work together.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that's soup to nuts. I mean, we get all philosophical, we can get all, but that's just the plain God is honest truth. If you can figure this out, it will go better for you. If you let people with degrees and robes make all those decisions, you're going to have animosity. You're going to have, and I guarantee you'll probably have the rest of your life dealing with dusts ups and tussles and various sticky situations because no one can put their differences aside and just agree for a minute.
Yeah.
Or work on it for a minute.
Yeah. So if people learn how to make agreements, then the situation is now something that they've had input and had decision making on, and people tend to feel better about that. But if the guy in the black robe is making the decision now, that's something that is imposed upon people, and very rarely are people happy with that kind of stuff.
And to be honest, they make decisions that are a lot harder to undo if it's not the right decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the judge didn't get it right, because let's face it, the judge isn't in your home 24/7 and doesn't know every single aspect of your life. That's impossible.
Yeah,
and so
that's right.
The only one that does are the parties involved. So let's have the people at the end of the day with the best information to resolve this. If that makes sense.
That's the parents themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, any other real things we want to cover? We got a few more minutes here.
Okay. So I'll give almost every single person what's called the custodial parent speech. And that is their job to have communication going from the child to the other parent, even if the other parent doesn't reciprocate. So that means, you have the child send the other parent a Happy New Year card, have Daddy be my Valentine card. There's Mother's Day, Father's Day. Oh, but he already has the kid on Father's Day. So what? Get a card. Birthdays. When school starts, take a picture of the schedule and send it to the other parent.
Yeah.
The kid brings home a good test grade, take a picture, send it to the other parent. Thanksgiving card, Christmas card, a little $10, $15 gift card, something like that. It's your job to make sure the kid's information is flowing to the other parent, whether the other parent reciprocates or not. That
Absolutely.
is the job. I had lunch with my judge buddy, and he asked how often I give the custodial parent speech, and I said, well, just about 100% of the time, but I'm sure I miss it every once in a while, but I try to give it to everyone. He says, wow, I wish everybody would do that. Because you're supposed to do that.
Well, and this is, getting to personal, this is what I know about you, Matt Bristol, the man, is that you're a lawyer, and yes, you do your legal thing, but you're also that one that knows I'm dealing with human beings, I'm dealing with personalities, I'm dealing with things that go beyond the law sometimes. And this is, and folks, if you ever need a lawyer for extended period of time, these are the kind of things you need to research when you're picking your attorney. What's their, quote unquote bedside manner, so to speak, on this one. And that's where, Matt, and your experience has told you, it's like, look, I'll do what you want legally here, but listen to me on this. You don't want to do it the way you want to do it because it's not going to end the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's, and not a lot of lawyers will always do the best things for you if it's just, it's not all lawyers are always on your corner, as you're saying.
Yeah, they don't always take that extra step, but we certainly try to.
Yeah, and that's, so, please, just, personal note, with all from the legal sage advice, when you get in these situations, you're going to want people that have compassion, care, and understanding. And I can tell you just from my personal knowledge of conversations with Matt and in my own personal dealings with Matt on things, he's that guy that will be the guy that cares and stuff. So, God forbid, I hope you never need Matt. But if you do, Matt is going to be a good guy to be in your corner when those times hit.
Well, hopefully nothing ever goes south for folks.
Absolutely here. So pay attention to that kind of stuff. It's divorce is such an ugly thing. It is so, because at the end of the day, not all parties walk away completely happy. On the surface maybe, but deep down, it is a signification of something that failed. And that's never a good thing. So
it's very seldom a good thing, and everybody's standard of living goes down because now you're supporting two households instead of one, and so it's.
And for the love of God, even if you hate that spouse, like Matt was talking about, send the cards, send the thing. The way you feel about your spouse and the way you communicate that to your children will greatly impact your children's opinions of your spouse / their other parent.
Yep.
It just does. Even so, even when you're the most frustrated at your ex-spouse here, wait till the kid leaves the room before you kind of vent your frustration here, because you don't want to create that relationship. You want your kid to have a good relationship with all your parents.
Right.
It's just, don't let your hang-ups translate to your kid. Don't let it happen.
Yeah, and send it, you have the kid sign the card and send it to the other parent. And I tell people, keep copies of this stuff, because maybe the kid's 8 or 9 now, signing cards and letters, and then they become a snotty little teenager and says, "You never let me see my dad." And so you can trot out the scrapbook of, "Oh yeah, well, look at all these cards and letters I had you send."
Yeah.
And then, remember when you fought me on this one, and remember when you didn't want to sign this one. And, I was always trying to be positive, so don't be a snotty little teenager.
That is the most lawyer answer, because, emotionally it's there, but it's all evidence-based. So you're like, here's the evidence.
Well, sometimes kids need that reminder.
Absolutely. A lot of adults do, too. But, it's...
And I tell folks, when you're doing that, do it for the grandparents on both sides.
Absolutely.
Happy Easter cards to the grandparents or whatever. And it's just good karma.
It's just one of those things. Once kids enter the equation, it's a for-life situation.
Yep.
You're dealing with that person the rest of your life. Hopefully, stay married and it's a good thing, but know when it ends, if there's kids in the relationship, you're just going to have those relationships. You're going to have to be a good parent, which at this point, that's all you got here in this situation. It's like, the marriage didn't work. I'm not a good spouse anymore. At least be a good parent.
Exactly.
And that's how you do that. So
Exactly.
We got time for a little factor.
Fiction and fact.
Yes.
Matt's Almanac. So in Roman times, there were marble sellers just like there are today. In fact, the funny thing is, one of my grandfathers was from Greece, and he didn't talk about the old country much, but we talked to his brother, his Uncle Harry. Uncle Harry, what was it like in the old country? He says, in the kitchen, we had marble. In the bathroom, we had marble. Everything was marble. He says we couldn't afford wood.
Perspective.
Yeah. So in ancient Rome, there were marble sellers, and sometimes if there were imperfections in the marble, they'd coated with like beeswax, some kind of wax would hide the imperfections. So the word for wax was cero. If you know anything about Spanish, if something is with something, that's con.
Yes.
Chili con carne, chili con queso. Without means, the word for without is sin.
Okay. I was like, I took 3 years of Spanish, but I don't remember that one.
S-I-N.
Gotcha.
Sin means without. So, so because, these dealers would use this wax to hide defects, that wouldn't, considered a really good, polite thing. But if it was the real deal marble, it was really high quality and there weren't any defects, it was sold without wax. So the word wax is cero, without means sin. So that's where we get the word sincero, sincere.
Interesting.
It's the sincere deal. It's the real
because
deal.
the marble was flawless, and that's what it's from.
It didn't have any wax. So, and 2,000 years later, we're using the same word. It's just amazing to me.
It is cool. It is cool how the evolution of some of this evolves over time, and even back to your point about perspective, it's like wood was too expensive. That's why everything was in marble.
Yeah,
and it's
we have to ask Uncle Harry, well, what did you eat? And he says, we had pheasant, we had lobster. It was whatever we could catch.
It's all gourmet now.
Yeah, all gourmet now.
It is. It's just it's an interesting thing. Now, if you need if you're going through any kind of family issues, or if you wanted, maybe it's time to make a will or do some of these type of financial securing of your family for the future type
give us a call.
Legal stuff.
Yeah.
Matt Bristol and his office can help you. If you go to bristollaw.net.
Right. BristolLawOffice.net.
Net. I knew it changed over. BristolOffice.net. You can go there. You can kind of read all about the different services, types of law that Matt can help you with. And of course, you can set up a free consultation to sit down and talk your case, and Matt can hear your story, and he can tell you from there. You know what? You need a lawyer. Let's get this thing going. Or you know what? If you go down to the office and file this form, you're good to go.
Right.
Whether it's a 5-minute fix or something that requires him to roll up his sleeves and help you out, he can tell you and do all that.
And there are probate court forms and some district court forms that are fill in the blank forms, and we help people fill those out all the time. Lawyers can be expensive. And so for a consultation fee, people bring in those forms. We tell them how to fill it out, and they rock and roll.
It's very affordable, and it'll save you a whole mountain of headache. Because trust me, these things can get wordy, by design sometimes, and it helps to have someone to navigate you through that.
Yeah, and I've had people say, well, thank you so much. They tried to make an appointment somewhere else, and they were told, we don't fill out forms. You have to hire us.
Well, and that's when you get into the legal world, some people kind of look at their time as beneath you and things like that, and it does get into that world. And it gets back to that comment I made earlier about people that care, and that's that, just a track record of just seeing Matt helping people after people doing his thing.
Well,
and
thanks. We enjoy it.
Yeah, it's sure everybody makes the money on the big case and everything, but your placard hangs out in front of your building because you service everybody and make all of your customers happy, and
we try.
You that'll keep hanging if you keep doing that. Matt gets that.
So give us a call at 575-625-5284, and let's see, probably February 12th, I think, is the next second Monday of the month. We'll be back.
Sounds good. I think I've met my quota on illnesses and things, so I should have enough antibodies to lick like a dumpster or something.
Yeah.
It should be pretty good.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Take care of that voice, Mike.
Will do. And thank you, Matt. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Enjoy. He's got a little time coming up to go see and do some fun stuff. So enjoy that. We'll see you.
Thank you. Sure will.
We'll have to hear a little about it when you get back.
All righty.
Awesome. All right, 7:58. Let's do a quick break before news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. Oh, it's being honored. Hold
Attention Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia, and surrounding areas. Roswell Tire and Appliance has what you're looking for with a great selection of refrigerators, freezers, washers and dryers, and ranges, and they can prepare your appliance as well with many models in stock and on sale. You can own it today. RTA services after the sale with repair, warranty, and delivery to Roswell and surrounding areas. Save big on a selection of scratch and dent appliances too, plus a great selection of tires and a team of people to help you when you need it most. Roswell Tire and Appliance, 101 South Main in downtown Roswell.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty mild today, but it will be cooling off for the upcoming weekend. We have a cold front on the way. For now, sunny and about 70 and a little bit breezy today. We'll drop into the mid and upper 20s with clear skies for the overnight hours. A lot cooler on Friday. We will keep the sunshine, but our afternoon high stays in the low 40s. Low 40s on Saturday, upper 40s on Sunday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
I'm Rich Thomason. Pakistan's Air Force launching retaliatory airstrikes in Iran, killing at least 9 people.
The strikes follow Iran's Tuesday attack on Pakistani soil that killed 2 children in the southwestern Baluchistan province. Mumtaz Zahra Balok, a spokeswoman at the Pakistan Foreign Ministry, says Pakistan will protect and defend its national security against threats.
Pakistan undertook a series of highly coordinated and specifically targeted precision military strikes against terrorist hideouts in Sistan-o-Baluchistan province of Iran.
The strikes imperil diplomatic relations between the 2 neighbors. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
U.S. airstrikes hitting what the Pentagon describes as Houthi rebel positions in Yemen.
The statement refers to this as an act of self-defense, and that's a narrative we've seen several times in the last week to describe those attacks, those strikes by the U.S. and its allies. These latest strikes come a few hours after a U.S.-owned commercial vessel was hit by a drone that was fired from Houthi territory. So possibly this was yet another kind of tit-for-tat move.
The BBC's Will Fernan. Having to run for president while facing an array of legal challenges, former President Trump packed a lot into his day yesterday after spending the day in a New York courtroom at his defamation trial. Mr. Trump then paid a visit to New Hampshire for a rally in Portsmouth. Former president, insisting he has done nothing wrong, says he's being persecuted by his political foes. Tens of thousands left without power in the Pacific Northwest as a fierce winter storm pummels the region, delivering a 1-2 punch of snow and ice. On Wall Street, the Dow down 70 points, and NASDAQ up 133. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
A stubborn drought that started last year has forced authorities to reduce shipping traffic by roughly 36% in the strategically important Panama Canal.
One of the most severe droughts to ever hit Panama has stirred chaos in the 50-mile maritime route, causing a traffic jam of boats, casting doubts on the canal's reliability for international shipping and raising concerns about its effect on global trade. The cuts to traffic in one of the world's most important trade routes could cause an even greater economic blow than previously expected, causing a loss of between $500 and $700 million in 2024. Canal authorities say Panama urgently needs to seek new water sources for both the canal's operations and human consumption. The same lakes that fill the canal also provide water for more than 50% of the country of more than 4 million people. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
News and analysis, townhall.com. It's called the CSRB, the Cyber Safety Review Board. Senate panels held a hearing to review the job it's been doing.
Homeland Security Chairman Senator Gary Peters says the CSRB was created to respond to cybersecurity intrusions
and identify how we can prevent similar threats down the road.
Tara Wheeler with Red Queen Dynamics testified that while the CSRB tries to stave off state cyber terrorists like Russia and China,
today Americans' small businesses are defenseless against very basic cyber attacks, much less anything sophisticated from a foreign adversary.
She recommends the CSRB be staffed by full-time independent investigators like those at the NTSB. Bob Agner reporting.
President Biden visits the politically important state of North Carolina today. At a stop in Raleigh, he'll tout Bidenomics and all he's done for the U.S. economy. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tabloid said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
Voice is almost there. It's another day or two away, but definitely a lot better. Once I get going, I'm good. It's the startups that takes a little bit of hurt.
It's like rolling a slightly squared off rock down a hill.
Right.
You got to get a little momentum first.
Yeah, once I get the momentum, then I can flow. Gotta turn the crank a little harder, get it to flow.
Trying to start a manual car on a hill.
Right. but getting there. So thank you to everyone sending the well wishes and everything too. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And but happy Thursday. Your Thursday's going well. It's gonna be a nice day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a gorgeous day. Actually,
this is the first day this week that I didn't walk from my car into this building, and I'm not going back.
Same.
It was the first day. It was nice. Now tomorrow I might be doing it again, but today we will not.
I heard this like maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, but I like the way that this is. It kind of sums it up. It was downright doggone it. I just had it.
Start over.
It was downright disrespectful outside the past 2 days. It wasn't just cold, it was disrespectful. For some reason, the word disappointing popped into my head, as it usually term. Does. Yeah, it wasn't just cold, it was disrespectful cold outside.
Yes. You just reminded me. I was scrolling through the X's, Twitter, we're going to call it, yesterday. And I saw a term used in the comments of a particular video that has resonated with me, and I want to find a way to work it into a conversation.
Okay.
Because it's such a great term. So I was watching a video of an irate lady at in a car that cannot drive and hit some dude in a parking lot and tried to blame the dude for the accident.
Right.
And she's just hooting and hollering and screaming at this guy, using all kinds of, the B word, I'll just say. You know how when a woman who gets mad and they start every sentence with the B word?
Yep.
That's what she was doing.
Oh,
So she was doing it, and the guy's just calm doing his thing and all that. It's a funny video. She ends up getting arrested for spitting and punching on the guy and all that. But anyway, so she gets arrested, but people are commenting on their opinions on the video. And one person called her a term that is very apropos.
Okay.
He called her a ghetto LARPer. And it was the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, that is a brilliant term. A ghetto LARPer. Someone who's acting ghetto, but is not like from the ghetto,
Right.
but they like the ghetto lifestyle.
Okay, so that's like today's version of poser.
Yes.
I like it.
Ghetto
LARPer.
LARPer.
You're just day jobbing this.
And I gotta be honest, I love that term. That term it's a great term. I like it. As a man who can appreciate a good play on words, I find that to be a term that makes me it's a good term.
You're
I like
just
it.
LARPing in ghetto. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. I got it. Yeah, that would be a fun one to try to work into conversations vocabulary.
Yeah. By the way, if you don't know what a LARPer is, those are the people that dress up like knights and stuff and go beat each other with sticks in the park.
Right.
Those people.
Live action role playing.
Yes. So I just
ghetto LARP. It's pretty good.
I love that term. To me it just sums up something so succinctly to me, and I'm like, that nails it.
It's kind of like how you can't really say wigger these days,
Right.
With the W, people, with a W. So yeah, that's exactly what that would be. Malibu's Most Wanted is a ghetto LARPer.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just a great term. So I'm going to find a way to use that in my
You
vocabulary.
could use it at some board meeting. That'd be fantastic. These ghetto LARPers out here.
Yeah, it's just solid terms. There's one that the more I stewed on it, the more I just dug it. It's just kind of a great term. So anyway, that when you said your thing, it just kind of reminded me. I was like, I do.
Being downright disrespectful outside.
It was downright disrespectful.
Ghetto LARPers.
So there's something else I was going to mention. I can't remember what it was. Oh well, I'll move on here. I watched yesterday. I've been watching the Hard Knocks in season with the Miami Dolphins. I'm a huge fan of the Hard Knocks. No matter what team's playing, in season, beginning of the season, I love behind the scenes of things.
Right.
And I love NFL football. I'm a Commanders fan, but so I love the behind the scenes. And so Hard Knocks is literally a show built for a guy like me. Just to, just what's going on behind the scenes. What are they drinking? What is that?
Right.
It's just an amazing amount of behind the scenes you see it of an NFL headquarters. It's pretty cool with me. So, I watched the last episode.
Right.
Because spoiler, Dolphins lost this weekend. Playoffs, they're done. But it was just fun to watch. But it also chronicled so well this particular season.
Right.
Because Miami, going into the mid-season Hard Knocks, they were in the conversation with the Chiefs and the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens and these one seeds. They're now battling out for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, people were really giving Miami their flowers.
And in those first couple episodes, you really saw what people were talking about. And I'm like, wow, this Dolphins team. Ooh, and I really also think, because the head coach of the Dolphins, Mike McCarthy, kind of an odd dude, dresses weird, kind of nerdy.
Right.
He doesn't look like what we think of an image of an NFL football coach, not the gruff older guy that cusses every other word and coach speaks everything up. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's and Mike McCarthy's not that guy. He's like that. At first, when I started watching him, talking to how he dresses, he almost seemed like that little nerdy kid that's trying to hang with the cool kids. Like he kind of came off that way. But he's way wittier and more charismatic than that. And you realize that as the series goes. But I think this series did a much better job because most people see him on the sidelines wearing the sweatpants that 20-year-olds wear,
right?
And looking like he's like a fly gym guy, and so most people see that and associate that with this guy that know he's doing,
right?
And then you see him talking to his players, you see him and how he runs the practice, you see how he does that, and you're like, all right, this guy, now I see why he's the head coach of Miami Dolphins.
Right.
And I see why they're good. But what I loved about this series is you saw that at the beginning. You're like, wow, now I know what's going on. And then you saw why even the best teams in the NFL, it's so hard for them to win the Super Bowl, because you see what happens to that team is what happens to a lot of the teams that are like that, where they're like, they look unbeatable. They look like they can do no wrong, because in that world, home of beer always happens. And that's what happened to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
It got to a point where they're like, man, we're hitting every milestone, home of beer. And next thing you know, almost all their starters on defense start getting hurt. Offensive guys they were losing and not getting back. And then they started losing those important games at the end.
Right.
They were writing their own ticket, but then they had to play they're losing injuries, and then they had to go play the Bills and some of these better teams at the end, and they were not. And I think had they had their full health of defense, because at the time when their defense was healthy, they were lights out shutting people out.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if the cocktail worked, Miami would still be playing for a Super Bowl.
It's all those unforeseen circumstances that you cannot plan for.
But this season of Hard Knocks with Miami, I highly recommend, because it seems to be the best piece of film that I've seen yet that really chronicles how a team that looks unbeatable goes from there to out in the first round of the playoffs. It's interesting.
It's a testament to the editing of of the show that they're pumping it out as quick, back to back like that,
right,
in real time, essentially.
Yeah, but I highly recommend, if you haven't watched all episodes are up now. The final episode just premiered Tuesday, and I think there's 8 episodes, maybe 8 or 9, and it's very good. This one was a particularly good one. Of all the Hard Knocks so far, top 3 or 4 was this Miami Dolphins one. Loved that one. So, let me probably need to get to flapping because I got an interview today and all that. John from Oasis Computers joined us yesterday in the 7 o'clock hour. Give us an update on tech, talk Microsoft, talk technology. So we're going to play that interview for you here in just a few minutes. Before we do that, though, we'll get you up to date with the weather. We'll also have your Chaves County Sports Update. We'll work on news, all that this hour. But first, here's that weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty mild today, but it will be cooling off for the upcoming weekend. We have a cold front on the way. For now, sunny and about 70 and a little bit breezy today. We'll drop into the mid and upper 20s with clear skies for the overnight hours. A lot cooler on Friday. We will keep the sunshine, but our afternoon high stays in the low 40s. Low 40s on Saturday, upper 40s on Sunday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, I don't have it because National Weather Service is still not working for me this morning. Tried that a few minutes ago, wasn't working. But I can tell you, for today, you can expect a high of 70 under sunny skies. Winds will be out of the northwest, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at a few passing clouds. Expect an overnight low of 29 degrees. Winds will be out of the north, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Just glancing at the rest of the week. Warm today, but back to being cold tomorrow. 41 for a high on Friday under partly cloudy skies. Cloudy in the morning, sunny for the afternoon. Expect an overnight low tonight of 23 in going into Friday night into Saturday. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 10 miles per hour. For Saturday, we're expecting a high of 44 under mostly cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the southeast 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then Saturday night, looking at an overnight low of 26 degrees. Going into Sunday, Expect a high of 51 under cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 10 miles per hour. And then going into the evening, looking at cloudy skies with an overnight low of 32. And then when you head back to work and school on Monday, highs back into the mid-60s under mostly sunny skies. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Then we're going to play our interview with John from Oasis Computers on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Foot and ankle problems are often agonizing, but they don't have to be. At Artesia General Hospital, we're passionate about helping every patient return to optimal mobility with confidence and comfort. Our board-certified podiatrists, Dr. Jennifer Chow and Dr. Michael Krupa, provide a full spectrum of services ranging from routine foot care and pain relief to customized treatment plans and leading-edge surgeries. Visit artesiageneral.com/foot care to request your appointment today.
Do you feel like time is running out for your to-do list? Don't let wisdom teeth get in your way. Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher at Carabelli Dental. Wisdom teeth can cause you pain and a lot of unnecessary downtime. Patients appreciate the ease of wisdom teeth removal while they are comfortable and relaxed in our office. Call us today to schedule your wisdom teeth removal with sedation and let us take the stress out of the situation.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455. Attention Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia, and surrounding areas. Roswell Tire and Appliance has what you're looking for with a great selection of refrigerators, freezers, washers and dryers, and ranges, and they can prepare your appliance as well with many models in stock and on sale. You can own it today. RTA services after the sale with repair, warranty, and delivery to Roswell and surrounding areas. Save big on a selection of scratch and dent appliances too, plus a great selection of tires and a team of people to help you when you need it most. Roswell Tire and Appliance, 101 South Main in downtown Roswell.
Being called a fox in your marriage might not always be a good thing. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and my wife, Miss Julie, for the Joy of Marriage.
In Song of Solomon it says, "Catch all the foxes, those little foxes, before they ruin the vineyard of love." I looked up the word fox and it means cunning, achieving one's goal by deceit or evasion. A female fox is a vixen, which is spiteful or a combative woman.
Those little things we do to try to get our way can ruin our marriages. Try just being honest and talking through the situation. Do what's best for your marriage, not just for yourself. When Julie and I learned to choose to do what's right instead of trying to be right, our marriage turned around. You will find marriage is so much better when we work together.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
The Artesia Arts Council presents Gunhild Carling, Sweden's Queen of Swing, Saturday, January 27th at the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center in downtown Artesia. Gunhild Carling and the entire family of musicians, singers, dancers, and more promise a dazzling evening that you and your family won't soon forget. Pre-sale adult tickets are $35 and $25 for K-12. Week of show tickets are $45 and $35. So get yours early at artesiaartscouncil.com. Enjoy the marvelous Gunhild Carling, Sweden's Queen of Swing, 7 p.m. Saturday, January 27th at the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center in downtown Artesia. Paid for by Artesia Lodgers Tax.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Alaska is the only state name that can be typed on one row of keys. Go ahead and try typing the other 49 states. We'll wait. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from Oasis Computers, John's back with us. Morning, John.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
How was the holidays for you?
Oh, calm, easy, nice.
Good. Those are three words I love to hear about the holidays.
The business was calm, too. That was not so nice. But then, as usual, January kicks in, don't know where to turn.
Yeah, it's kind of
straightening out a little bit again. So
rains with pores, right?
Yeah, it's always the same. Well, but that's okay. We're not complaining.
Good deal. Well, I imagine, some people got maybe some new technology over the holidays, and they're either coming with you to get rid of old, or they don't know how to work it, and they come to you to see how to work that new technology.
It's how do we put it? Microsoft. I guess maybe that explains it.
Keeps you in business, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like they were doing a lot of update. I don't know. It seems like I got several updates over the holidays.
Yeah, I
like,
don't know if we talked about it last time. I think we did somewhat, but it's becoming pretty obvious. And how do we put it? Since Windows 10 came out, 10 years ago or whatever, every year, every day is like, what the heck? What now? What did they do? Why does this not work? What's going on? Stupid Microsoft. Basically something like that. And then in terms of words, maybe worse than that. But yeah, you know what I mean. And everybody has the same problem. Don't understand, don't know what's going on. And basically early last year, it started kind of showing what's going on. Nobody's on board with it, so you get a kind of a weird situation. Microsoft, I believe, is fixing a lot of things. Now, the way they fix it, we're not sure if we agree on that, but, you know, that's how they do it. So all these changes slowly are doing what we ask for. Can you make it better, more secure, and easier to use and whatever? At the same time, they add features and things, and this is what you need, that's what you need. Well, we don't necessarily ask for. It makes it confusing. And I think communication is very bad. The example that I have on communication is that what happens inside the Windows itself. When you need to do something, are made to do something, change your password, whatever it is, or something installs, I don't think it's clear what they meant. For a long time I've been saying, so you take your lucky quarter out, you flip it up and say, heads. That means yes, I'll do it.
Right.
Well, you can't go along like that because you don't really know what you're doing.
Sure,
you know, I got to go to Dallas and I need to make a turn here. Do I need to turn left or right? Well, you end up in L.A. or something like that because you turned west instead of east.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that don't work real well. But what choice do you have? You need to get your job done too. So a good example of that is when you get a virus, or you think you have a virus, it's just in the browser. You know, I don't know if we're getting through with that, but you are in the browser, and then, of course, many people ask me, what's a browser?
Right.
Well, it's the thing you're on the internet with,
Right.
Google Chrome, Edge,
It's your
whatever.
portal into
Right.
the world.
So anyway, that thing, if it says that Microsoft found a problem and you need to call them to fix it, you don't. Microsoft does not help in that regards whatsoever. Try to call them yourself. You can't hardly find them.
Right.
Anyway, so a simple fix for it, we tell to everybody, hit the Control, Alternate, Delete keys, all three at the same time down, and then something pops up, and then you go to where you, what's called the
task manager.
Task manager.
Yeah.
I was thinking device manager. That's not it. Task manager, and then you shut down. Let's say you have Chrome open or something like that. You shut down Chrome there. Problem goes away. You start Chrome back up, and that's where the problem comes in. It says in the top right-hand corner, would you like to restore the pages? And for the longest time, almost everybody says yes. And then, of course, the word is, well, and then does it right again?
Right.
Well, yeah, you restored the pages. So one day I asked some lady, and it's like, well, I've been asking for a while, what would you click on? And then I go, no, that's not right. You need to click on this. Try to explain it. But that didn't explain to me why they were doing that.
Right.
So I asked this lady, why are you clicking on restore pages? And the answer literally was, I want to go back to where it works good. And it's like,
they think restore
I
it
can
to-
see what you're thinking,
Right.
but that's not what it means. It means to go back when you shut it down to where you were so
Right.
you didn't lose anything. Well, your problem shows right back up too, though. So since I figured that one out, I started realizing that if Microsoft would put a little bit more in it, restore the pages to where you were when it went wrong or something like that, it would be clear. But this is apparently not clear, and this is just an example. Those kind of things are all the way through Windows where it's not clear to people what it is.
Sure.
Plus, many of my customers don't even know how to really run it. They do what they do, they bungle through it,
Sure.
and they get whatever they need to do done.
Well, and I would even think, like, with that restore the pages mindset, depending on their age and what level of computers they did, earlier versions of Microsoft and things, Windows, when you had a computer kind of stop doing what you want to do, going back to a restore point from earlier is is kind of like a method to fix some of those things. And I'm wondering in their head if they think restoring, in essence, refreshing the browser
the answer from the lady
is the same thing.
Was kind of obvious.
Yeah.
You know, why do you click on restore the pages?
Yeah.
I want to restore, and that's what you mentioned by restoring your program. Restore to where it worked, not restore to where I was.
Right.
It's not made clear.
And
But
that's
anyway,
I think people generationally, because when they entered into the game, that's
I
where
don't
they
think
kind
it's a
of
generation. I think it's just how, maybe more how the mind thinks.
okay.
I'm seeing more and more how the mind thinks. There's different people, you know. They would choose different things because of the way the mind processes or whatever.
Sure.
That thing above our eyes is not functioning the way most people think. The working with the computers and the customers has shown me that. But anyway, to come back to Microsoft, what are they doing? Well, most people come in the store over the last year say, and I don't want that thing online, and they're meddling with my life, and I leave it offline and whatever. So what happens is that Microsoft is changing it to where it looks like they take control over you, your machine, and your life. But nobody asks really why, because they want to make money. Yeah, I guess they can use more for advertising, whatever. But don't forget, they're helping you also. And that's becoming pretty obvious, even though it's not working real well yet. You have that Microsoft account, and these days you cannot hardly bypass the Microsoft account unless you know how to do that. But it's not widely known at all. Anyway, for most people it doesn't matter. So you buy a new machine. It's not been set up by me. Then you open it up, and then you start Windows up, and it asks some questions, what country and what keyboard and whatever. And then it says, now let's set up or add your Microsoft account. Okay, first mistake there is that it asks for an email or something like that.
Right.
People put an email in it. That's not very helpful because now you have me at google.com, the main entry as for Microsoft. Why are you at google.com when it's for Microsoft?
Right.
The second thing that's not clear is that me at google.com, that email, in most people's mind is an email address. In this particular case, it has nothing to do with an email address, just a name.
Right.
The name to log into Windows, the Windows account. So anyway, you get through that, you set it up, and if it happens to get done correctly, so if you had one from Microsoft, great, use it. But the option is not clear and loud, make a new account. If you don't have one, make a new account with Microsoft. To me, that's the option to choose.
Gotcha.
But that's in smaller letters underneath it. So
if you're not paying
if you
attention,
make a new email, if you make a new account with Microsoft, it's also an email account. If you use me at google.com, you have no email account. But later on, we have run with customers and you can't make it work. Your email don't work. Well, there is not one because they use me at google.com.
Gotcha.
Me at google.com cannot work for Microsoft because it's already in use.
Gotcha.
At Google.
Right.
So you can use that. So it's just a name again. Come back to a name. Now, what is the funny thing is, people bring a machine in, it breaks, and you say, well, your machine's bad. Do I have my files? Yeah, your drive's good, no problem. We can copy those over. Okay, so the other machine comes in. It's like, machine seems to work fine, but your hard drive's bad. If it's an old-style drive still, let's assume, they bring it in, this doesn't work. Let's plug it in. You plug it in, you power it on, and it goes click, 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 click. Yeah, that's the hard drive not functioning.
Right.
I'm sorry, hard drive's bad, and nothing I can do about it. Where can I get my files? No, probably not. Or it's going to be very expensive, and it may not even be possible. And then it's literally like, oh, my God, my life's falling apart. So then you ask, do you have a Microsoft account? Some do know, some don't know and have it. But anyway, let's assume the one that does know. Yeah, Microsoft account, me at Microsoft.com. Okay, so I go to my computer, the one that's sitting there up front for customer use, whatever. Go to my computer, I type that in, go to the online OneDrive, and you log in with their account, and then you say, is this the stuff you're looking for? And then suddenly I'm a saint. I just saved their life.
Right.
I didn't. Microsoft did. Now, the real funny part is the people that really have fought it, I don't want that, and they happen to have it, they're really happy that that's been done now.
Sure.
So that's where they're going to. The other thing is that in this process of fixing it, it feels like we're the way they've done it is like we're going on a trip with an airplane. We leave in a Boeing airplane, and when we land, it's a McDonnell Douglas or a different brand. And it's all been changed in mid-flight while you were in the airplane. Well, can you imagine that you sometimes have things that is a little weird?
Oh, yeah.
That's basically what they do with Windows. As we're using it, they're changing it. Good example was the Windows 11 comes out, and it's almost the same as Windows 10. It's like there's no difference. Why did they do this? The taskbar is working the same. You can move it around from corner to corner, up and top and down, and then suddenly the taskbar doesn't hardly do anything no more. Well, they rewrote the taskbar. We're complaining that why it's old software. Can they fix it, make it better, make it more optimized? They did. But the way they give it to us is they make a basic function of it, the main functions you need, and it doesn't do anything else. Then they replace the old one with this one, and you're just, again, going like, what the heck, Microsoft? It doesn't do this no more.
Right.
Well, a year and a half, 2 years later, with the latest update, the taskbar does almost do everything again what it used to. They added it back into it. Well, my idea is make the thing finished and then replace it.
Right.
But that's not how they operate, and that's where so many of the issues come in. So, yeah, I believe it is getting better.
Right.
But some things are just silly. But, yeah, overall, I think we're moving forward. But it's just not clear what's going on.
Well, it seems like, I don't know, just as long as I've, kind of paid attention to these kind of things a little bit, it's almost like a philosophy, and this is like, Apple Android all over again here, where you have where Apple they're more stringent on the testing and the protocol side of things, but when they release a product, there's usually less quirks, bugs, just operational issues.
Right.
Whereas Microsoft has always been that one. It's like, we'll get it out quicker.
Right.
But there's going to be about 37 bugs, and we're going to use humanity to find the bugs and fix them, rather than go in our own rooms and test and try.
Well, I think you're talking about Apple versus Microsoft, and I think they have somewhat completely different philosophies, stemming back, I think, to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, the way they were thinking about stuff. Gates is like, it works good enough. They'll figure it out. Whereas Jobs goes like, this corner here needs not rounded correctly.
Right.
Can you fix that? And everybody in the company goes like, oh, for God's sake, there he goes again.
They're like the extremes of each other. Yeah.
They're very meticulous, precise. Don't put it out if it doesn't work, even though I've done some things like that didn't work right. It slipped through. But overall, their product is polished, done, and I think checked over not once or twice, but 10 times that it does as good as it can. They do have, of course, an advantage. Their hardware is from them, and their software is from them.
They're very
what makes a big difference,
of their,
of course.
yeah, they're.
You got to recognize that. But on the Microsoft part, it's just like with that taskbar I was just talking about. Okay, we got a functioning one, put it out, and they will figure it out. Well, not everybody figures it out. And, if there would be a notice that we have the new taskbar, it's not fully functional yet, but we decided to put it in. We're working on it. If there would be some message for it.
Sure.
But, of course, does bring me to this aggravating thing when you get updates, whatever. Then it's Google does it, and Microsoft does it. Oh, we got new stuff. Let me show you what we got. And who looks at that? Who actually reads up on that when that happens?
Never.
Yeah, see, that's my experience. I never did either.
Unless you're really, really into that. But
it's
most people aren't.
Also, somewhere last year, I don't know how it came up exactly, why it hit me, but I look at that and I go, they're trying to tell me what the new things are and what has changed. And I'm going literally like, oh, there they go again. Don't give me this crap. I just need to get my work done. So I've been starting to read through it a little bit. And it's like once in a while, that's nice. But if I wouldn't have read it, I wouldn't have known, and then something just doesn't work right anymore.
Right.
So maybe some of it is on us. When we do get information that it changed,
sure,
we should maybe be looking at it. What I find a problem, though, it comes up when you don't have time to look at it.
And exactly, and I think...
And then you want to look at, no, what was that? You can't find it anymore.
I feel like there has to be a little give and take on that one where we say, okay, yeah, you're right, we don't pay attention to these, but y'all need to find a way to present it to us so it doesn't hit us at a moment where the last thing on our brain is the thing that you're trying to tell us
and if
right
you
now.
would like to see it again, so not now, but, pop it back up later or put it in the corner of the browser or something where you can click on it and say, this is helpful information. Maybe you ought to look when you have a minute.
Well, and it's kind of like, like you were talking earlier about your having an email account attached to it if you're using a name or whatever. But if you have that email account set up and everything, why can't they use that as they send out a weekly email or whatever, and it's always that, these changes are coming.
I think they do some of that.
Do they?
And then we go, Jesus, I got way too much emails.
But we got to find a way to at least put some of that onus back on us.
I mean, what we're doing right now, I think my job is to point out those things.
Right.
Maybe you ought to look at these things a little bit, and because for the longest time, we've just been basically bitching about it. It's in my way, this crap they put up. Basically, that's what everybody says. And I woke up to maybe you ought to kind of read some of that once in a while, at least glance through it.
Sure.
So you have some idea.
Both sides have to give and take.
Again, what I've been asking for, they actually have been giving me, and I've been then ignoring it. Not helpful.
Right.
So pay attention.
And you wonder why IT guys hate people.
Yeah. But, it's difficult. It is a difficult machine. People overlook that it's a very complicated machine.
And it's just, it's one of those things that, most of us as consumers, we know enough about computers to get us in trouble. We don't necessarily understand all the concepts and why things are done the way the things are done. We just come in saying, I want my email, I want to see my movie, I want to download my song.
That's
all I want to do.
That's another thing that has changed that is kind of, I don't know, striking, mind-boggling, whatever. To me it is. I made my money by helping people get a new machine or fix the old machine. Then we put the windows back on. Don't know how to put windows, but we do all that for you. Okay, charge for it, make a living with it. And then the big part of it is get my files from the old or from the broken or whatever it is back onto the new one. So I'm kind of proud that I do that, and I'm pretty good at it, and that's how I make some money, right?
Sure.
And then early last year, I started realizing, oh, wait a minute. The new Microsoft account backs everything up online. It's all there. It syncs if you use Edge and save your passwords in Edge, what we never recommended, but it's a little better now. It's still not real safe, but it's better than not knowing your password. Let me put it that way.
Gotcha.
So if you do that and you have the Microsoft account, your hard drive goes bad, like we said earlier. Put a new hard drive in it. You put Windows on it, and then you get to the point, put your Microsoft account in it. When you do that, your passwords, your stuff, your things, all that is related to Microsoft comes all back. Add-on programs not from Microsoft do not. So, unless they were bought through the Microsoft store.
Gotcha.
So I think we mentioned that last time too. If you have an option to get a program, get it from the Microsoft store. It will update again and reinstall because it keeps track of that.
Gotcha.
So the scare to me, I don't know if it's a scare, but it's like, hey, I don't have no business left moving all this stuff over. It goes by itself. Well, over the whole last year, when I realized that, what used to take me an hour or so, now is 4 or 5 hours sometimes. And it's because the customer doesn't have the Microsoft account or is set up incorrectly or it didn't function right. It's getting better, but there's many misses in there.
Which makes a lot more hurdles for you to go around to get.
So what happens is, the one thing I felt proud, the lady was asking, can you do this and that and that? And yeah, sure, we do that all the time. So I said, and here are your files. And the answer was, well, I don't really care. But can I get to my email? Well, yeah, just go to your email. Well, how do I do that here on this new... What's your email? Gmail. Well, type in the address bar gmail.com. What? That was set up by somebody. She just clicked on an icon on the screen, a link in the browser, whatever. However, it was shortcutted, if that's a word. How that was done, and that's what they want on the new machine. In their mind, that's how it works. So the new one should do the same thing. Well, no, it doesn't know anything like that, you know. So we have to work on that. So, okay, who do you have email from? Well, my email. You know, if I need to send you an email, where do I send it to?
Right.
Oh, me@gmail.com. Okay, so you have Gmail email. Okay, fine. So you enter that into the browser and say, okay, now your login then is most likely your email name that we send email to. Oh, okay. Wow, that's neat. Didn't know that. The people have no idea. So you put that in, so now the password. And guess what the answer always is? I don't have a password.
Right.
Yes, everybody has a password, but it gets entered in automatically. So now we got to figure out what that is. We do that. Half an hour later, we got finally all the hurdles done, and we have Gmail. And then they say, what about my Amazon? What about my Yahoo? What about my... They don't know anything about it. And if they do know, more than half the time it's wrong because they get a book out and it has been changed, but the book's not been updated.
Right.
So that's what used to copy files over. My time involved maybe an hour or so, and maybe it took longer sometimes, but, you know, that's the time you work on it maybe. Now it's like fixing the customer with the login accounts and the emails. That's what really has changed. And that's where Microsoft will come in if you follow it. Google the same way, by the way. If you have a Google account and sign in that in your browser correctly, that will duplicate everything everywhere too.
Okay.
So I don't know how to put it, but maybe quit bitching about Microsoft. They are doing something that helps you.
Right.
Now they're doing other things that don't help you.
Sure.
You know, when they say you have coupons on this website, I could care less. I'm not there for shopping. I'm
Sure.
there for information, for my email, whatever.
It's almost like we got to find that, because obviously at the end of the day, they're a company making money, selling things to you. That's how they make money and do things. They're going to do everything in their power to continue to do that because that's how they. But at the same time, there's got to be a way to balance that functionality of, hey, you got to really pay attention to this versus this is me marketing to you.
When companies,
got to be a better separation.
When companies get big, they also get a little bit, what word to use, arrogant.
Yeah.
You know, we know how the best way of doing it is. And, you know, I've used this example. It's like, let's ask the customer what they want. Well, we want this, and we don't want this thing here, you know. The number one is okay. We don't care really, but maybe that's beneficial. But what you're doing there on what we call number two, don't put that in there. We hate it. Okay, great, wonderful. We listened to you. We heard you loud and clear. By the way, we have this number one thing going that works pretty good, and we put in the number two thing. We are really proud of that one, and it's all functional now. What did we just ask for?
Right.
Do not do that. But, you know, they think it's great and wonderful. Sure. And some things are in the longer run great and wonderful, but some things, they go away. They don't stay. They didn't apply.
Right. Well, it's like, and all companies do it. It's not just like, for instance, I have an Apple phone, and I got a notification that I needed to do an update on it this morning. Right. So I did the update. And I get the phone back. I look, another stupid app sitting on the phone there called Journal. I'm like, what am I, a 7-year-old girl? I'm not doing journals. You know, why are you just throwing this stuff on there? But to the point of what you're saying
well,
here.
I think part of the problem is that again, you know, the computer, the phone is a computer, is not a single-use device, if you know what I mean.
Right.
You know, if you have a radio, you turn it on, you search for a station, you listen to it. If you have TV, you watch it. If you have a toaster, it makes bread or toast bread or something like that in it. An oven cooks food, you know. And then it's not quite the exact analogy here, but the computer does all those things in one machine. But now you got to select which one, what one. Then on top of that, I want to use it for this purpose.
Right.
You want to use it for that purpose. And they want to use it for that app you just were talking about that we, both of us, never want or knew. But you find out that there's a bunch of people that say they use that crap.
Right.
You know, and they will say, crap, it's really good stuff. Why don't you use it? It's so beneficial. And a machine does all those things in one machine.
Right.
And that's part of the issue. How do you cut off the stuff you don't want? Well, you kind of can't.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't.
I just wish there was like a big checklist. You could go down and say, don't want that, don't want that, don't want that, don't want that, want that. Save.
That would be great.
Save. And then
that
there's
would be
everything.
great if you knew what they were.
Exactly. That would be the...
Because some of them you will turn off because you go like, that is, again, crap that I don't want.
Right.
And then a year later, somebody explains to you what they did, and it's like, I've been asking for that all along.
Yeah.
But the name didn't make sense to you. You didn't read really up what it did, or you're too busy.
Right.
And then you miss it. You know, it's just...
Yeah.
Can't seem to win, you know, from both sides, kind of.
At least that way I could trial and error it. Be like, oh, yeah, it turned out I did like that one. Check it back again. So, but anyway, but that would be...
All I can say that over the years that I've done this, what is now, 35?
Yeah.
Going on 35 this year, I believe. Anyway, since I've done it, it has gotten better.
Yeah.
And then some people will argue it's not. So you want to go back to C:, and then
Right.
you have to type in what you want.
If you wanted to play Hangman 30 years ago, it would have took you 2 days worth of programming to play a game
Right.
for 10 minutes.
Right.
It has gotten way better.
Yes, it is.
But
It has.
let's, I just all the time probably
Yep.
should, of course, if you're having computer issues, whether it's a new one that's not cooperating or an old one that's getting a little crotchety and fidgety and needs some love, John can help you navigate through that. If you want to make an old computer new again, he can help you with some of that.
Yep.
If you want to, or maybe you bought one of these big box store computers and it doesn't do the things you thought it was going to want to do, talk with John. Maybe he can do some tweaking and upgrading or swapping out to make it suit your needs a little bit better.
We can do that.
Absolutely. But come on by. He serves morning hours for customer triaging and things like that, Monday through Friday, 8 to noon.
Yeah, 8 to 12, Monday to Friday.
I'll let you do this since you got better
I try to
voice.
leave no later than 12:30 if you come in at 12, so I have an hour to handle it. The last year, things have changed a little bit more. Sometimes the doors open in the afternoon because, depending how busy it is, whatever.
Sure.
And, don't be surprised the door is open once in a while, but you can always call. And the reason I wouldn't take you in the afternoon is because I'm on service call or
Right.
something like that. I'm not there always.
That's kind of what you do in your heavy lift
Sometimes I
projects.
will not respond. Well, I will respond to you, but I will say you have to bring it in the morning because I'm overloaded with work. Got to get it out.
Sure.
But, I'm slowly, I get a little bit more time in the afternoon because of all the changes, how the Windows works, how things fix and whatever. And if you have a problem, need to be in the afternoon, by all means, call. I try to answer the phone between, 7 in the morning till 5:30, something like that in the evening. And if it's an emergency, a lot of times I'm there and say, come on over, and I'll open the door for you, let you in, see if we can fix it.
Absolutely. So, so call. And then, like I said, if you don't get John live, leave a voicemail. He will call you back.
If you leave a voicemail, I will respond to it. I'm still old-fashioned. I don't do much texting, but if a text gets left, I respond to it, but not quite as quick, I guess. I miss them still.
Sure.
And then
We all do.
email. Some people email these days. That works too, but in general, I do the email in the morning, get everything handled.
Slower
and then
response
the next
there.
morning, I do the emails again. So the best thing, if you need immediate help, just call.
Good.
And then the number is 575-625-9141.
And, of course, the store is located behind the Wool Bowl
Yes.
on Garden.
Garden. And
Yes.
that's behind the Wool Bowl.
Yes.
And don't confuse it with Atkinson.
Yes. Garden Wool Bowl. Can't miss it. It's right there.
Right,
Come
next
on
to the
in.
railroad tracks.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, on the north side.
That's right. And if you want to butter John up, bring him some coffee or candy or something. He'll be happy.
Coffee we don't have anything to go with it. Trying not to eat too much at the store.
I get you. A lot of computer equipment around there.
Yep.
Not a place leave drinks and things laying around. So. But John, as always, appreciate the visit, and I'm sure you got a few people waiting at the shop for you now.
I hope so when I get back.
Good deal.
Something to do. I'm fairly caught up, so
Good
we
deal.
can handle some new work.
Well, get him busy early. That way he can stay warm because it's kind of cold out there.
It is.
You know, idle
We got
hands
the
make it
heater
cold.
on. It's nice inside. Come
Come on in and
Right.
warm up. So, but thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anytime. It is 7:54. Let's pause for news. Sports update. Quick break. Don't go away.
Now for you, Eddy County Sheriff Mark Cage is bringing an education program into the Eddy County Jail for inmates to use. The Ignite program has been used in other jails across the country. It gives inmates access to learning opportunities. They can learn a trade through virtual reality. Ignite stands for Inmate Growth Naturally and Intentionally Through Education. In many jails across the country where Ignite has been used, violence has dropped, and so has recidivism. New Mexico House Representative Jim Townsend has been chosen to serve as the House Minority Whip. The vote was unanimous among the caucus members. Representative Greg Nybert previously held that position, but was recently appointed to the state Senate. A whip is the person whose task is to ensure party discipline. The whip also helps to ensure that members of the party vote according to the party platform. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. It's more tournament basketball time starting today in Dexter. The John Reed annual tournament and this is the 55th annual tournament, will be taking place at Dexter High School. It's boys basketball tournament, and the defending champion is Eunice. Eunice will be taking on NMMI starting at 1 o'clock today. NMMI 6-4. Eunice is 8-5. Also on tap today, Dexter will be playing Raton this evening at 6:30. Dexter is 7-8. Raton is 5-6. And you've got the Hagerman Bobcats taking on Jowl this afternoon at 2:30. Hagerman 4-9. Jowl is 6-6. Not part of this tournament, but Gateway Christian will be taking on a tough Santa Rosa team. Santa Rosa is 10-3. That starts at 6:30 tonight in Santa Rosa. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
All across America, this is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Strong retail data weighing on investors. Rate cuts in question again. Wall Street's weekly losses mounting. All three major indexes down yesterday. December retail data came in hotter than expected. The economy still on solid footing to start this new year. Investors, though, questioning how committed the Fed is to cutting rates starting in March. More regional bank earnings today. M&T Bank Corporation leading things off. Wall Street targeting earnings per share down 19% year over year. Revenue targeted down more than 8%. M&T shares trading $129 a share, off about 6% for the year. December housing starts expected to have declined. This after a notable increase in November last year. Recent data shows housing starts down about 7% last year compared to 2022. The federal U.S. Court of Appeals barring imports on Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 models. This amid a challenge from Apple that it violated patent infringement laws. Apple proposing a redesign that would allow the watches to be imported once again, but no details yet from Apple on what that means. Please join me twice each weekday for the Lou Dobbs Business Report right here.
Business news you need to know. Keep listening for more. This is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
Companies in the United States are 10 times more likely to be a victim of a cyber attack. Manufacturing, healthcare, retail, financial services, the leading targets. Ericson's Cyber Z Suite provides the protection you need before your data gets stolen, bank accounts get drained, and operations are at a standstill. Call Ericson today to schedule a no-obligation consultation. That's 908-878-7717. Ericson, ERACENT.com. 908-878-7717.
Asian Market brings the flavors of the East to Roswell. The market side has lots of new and different items, including new sauces and noodles to enhance your Asian dishes, plus new snacks and more. And the restaurant inside Asian Market has all Nook's favorites from 11 to 5, like wontons, egg drop, rice or noodle soup, crispy calamari, and the best barbecue fried rice in town. Dine in or call ahead for easy pickup. And find Asian Market on Facebook for updates on open times and specials.
Hi, this is Nook. Come see me at Asian Market, 5702 South Main in Roswell. Call 575-840-5309.
Most of us want to be perceived as successful. We want the world to know that we're smart, athletic, pretty, or maybe even a little funny. We yearn to be great at something. In our dreams, we're often the world's greatest teacher or quarterback or model or comedian. Unfortunately, if we're honest with ourselves, we'll probably never be the greatest. It's simply unattainable for most of us. We also find that even when we are great at something, it's unsustainable. It's inevitable that someday someone else will be better at it than we are. So what do? We should always strive to be and to do our best, but maybe we need to step back and make sure we're successful in the eyes of Jesus. Jesus defined true success with two simple phrases: love God, love everybody else. This defines true success, when we become everything that God wants us to be. After all, God doesn't need another Patrick Mahomes or Blake Shelton. What he does need are representatives sharing his love in this world.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Bill Cunningham is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
The Republican presidential hopefuls have been busy in the state. Former President Trump leads in Granite State polls, followed by Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. At a rally in Portsmouth last evening, Mr. Trump blasted Haley as an advocate of open borders. And speaking of open borders, House Speaker Mike Johnson says that subject surfaced during yesterday's sit-down with President Biden.
We had a productive meeting, I think, House and Senate leaders. The president was very forthright. I told the president what I have been saying for many months, and that is that we must have change at the border, substantive policy change.
The Justice Department says police officials who responded to the deadly school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, May of 2022, demonstrated no urgency in setting up a command post and failed to treat the killings as an active shooter situation. A newly released Justice Department report identifies cascading failures in law enforcement's handling one of the deadliest massacres at a school in U.S. history. In the words of Attorney General Merrick Garland, the victims and survivors of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School deserve better. The number of Americans applying for unemployment last week dropping to its lowest level in more than a year.
The Labor Department reports jobless claim applications fell to 187,000 for the week ending January 13th. That's a decrease of 16,000 from the previous week and its fewest since September of 2022. Overall, 1.81 million Americans were collecting jobless benefits during the week that ended January 6th. A decline of 26,000 from the previous week.
And that's correspondent Jeremy House. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is down 59 points, while the NASDAQ trading 155 points higher, and the S&P is up 18. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Blockading the homes of the country's two main opposition politicians. This ahead of a planned protest in the country's capital.
The former presidential candidate Bobi Wine described it as a cowardly move by the military and police. It seems no coincidence that he and another Ugandan opposition leader, Kizza Besigye, chose today to call for a protest over the state of Kampala's potholed roads. Dozens of heads of state will be turning up to attend 2 international summits. The opposition knows that it could steal the spotlight and be able to highlight its struggle for democracy if there's tear gas and people are arrested for taking part in what the police have called an unlawful assembly.
The BBC's Will Ross. China and the Philippines say they have agreed to work on lowering tension after a year of confrontation in the South China Sea between their ships and have raised concerns of armed engagement in the region. China's foreign ministry says 2 sides agreeing to work more closely together and improve communication. Townhall.com. Ambitious and well-financed plans for a new city in California.
After years of secretly snapping up property for plans to build a new California city, a company backed by Silicon Valley billionaires is taking the pitch to voters. The California Forever Company submitted paperwork to ask the voters on the November ballot to allow them to build the city on now protected agricultural land. The company has ducked scrutiny while snapping up more than $800 million of Solano County farmland in recent years. The plan would include nearly 20,000 homes initially for 50,000 residents and could grow to 400,000 people. Keith Peters reporting.
The Pakistani Air Force has launched retaliatory airstrikes on Iran in response to Iran's Tuesday attack on Pakistan that killed 2 children in the southwest of the country. The attacks raise the threat of Mideast bloodshed spreading beyond Gaza. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Crazy Beards
of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday.
Yes.
And it is me. It's more me.
It's closer.
I'm telling you, if you were listening all week, I apologize. But if you were listening all week, I sound like if you go back and watch each show, it start with Friday because I came in Friday and that was a hot mess. And and then, but as each show, so I'm hoping like by tomorrow, I'm going to be almost me.
Right. And then you'll have a weekend to kind of relax it a little bit or a little bit, and then hopefully by Monday of next week you'll be back to singing.
That's right.
Singing in the streets.
Back on the tables, doing my thing.
That's a threat, not a warning or preview.
Right. I'm warning you, I'll be singing soon. No, that's God blessed me with some things. Singing voice is not one of them. No. That is not one of the things I possess. So I can kill a minute with my voice, but not singing. I can't do that. So, and to be honest, I think because like in elementary school, I did do choir for like in 5th grade. Like I tried out one time and they said no, thank you, and then the next year,
we're good.
I don't know if they were just short bodies, but I made it like the next year. And that was the one year I did it, and I never sang again. But I think if you need me to blend in with 30 voices, I can fake that.
There you go.
But
you could fill a riser.
Yeah.
There you go. That's really all we're after.
And then when I try to sing, I sound like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I'm not singing. I'm trying to, like I'm making fun of Pavarotti or something. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to put some weird affect. It's not really me. But then again, people that actually sing don't sound like they talk.
It's true.
I mean, Ozzy's
The gift
biggest.
of gab is not the gift of holding a note or holding a tune.
Yeah.
Those are two separate gifts.
But I wonder if I'm doing like my fake singing, Pavarotti.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm actually good. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, though. If you're one of those people that probably won't find out because you're not going to be known to sing in the streets.
I know I'm not.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me in my head that like I could, because I can. I'm a DJ. I can talk. I do deep voice guy. I do all that garbage, hot mess, puking out crap, and all that. I can do all that. But but when I sing, it's always I'm not even gonna try now because of this. But but I feel like when I'm trying to do like mocking other singers, I'm like it may not be half bad. Like you're not gonna pay money for me to sing,
right?
But at least you're not like, oh my God, what was that shrill that just came out of that mouth? I don't know. So
the good news though for you is that you're never going to run into a situation where like I ran into yesterday. So if you ever pick those spots where you're like, oh, I'm totally alone, I can sing a little louder than normal, belt out a tune that was stuck in my head. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something completely nonsensical, like the night the lights went out in Georgia or something.
Right.
So I'm walking into the building. I put my coat in. And I just start like in the chorus, like that's the night that the lights, and then this really pretty girl walks off the elevator. I'm like, oh.
See, I would have played into that.
Well, that's you do that.
I would have kept going.
You're like, that's the night.
When you're caught, why stop? You know what I mean? You're caught at this point. Well, miles of ride this puppy out
because you hit a wall.
Yeah, but I think like if you're trying to impress, like she's a pretty lady, I'm sure you're like, hey, I'd like to make her think I'm a nice guy.
The better part of me would have leaned into it, but I was just like, it was a gut punch.
I think, and especially of all people, because that's your strength.
You think I would have, but the wall.
Or us that aren't blessed with 6-pack abs or any muscle definition to speak of.
We just got
to rely on this bad boy right here.
That's right.
And so
I leaned away. Okay, I let myself down. All right.
Just saying.
But that's.
I expect better from you, Sean. You should ride that one out.
You know what? Next time.
Anyway, I don't know when they would have stopped because I don't sing. Not for people. But anyway, so that's the strength. We have the ability to push through the embarrassment wall sometimes.
Sometimes
because we live in that world so much that our defense is to cut it out, cut our own legs out. Before you get to cut our legs out.
I think that's the danger of sitting in a room and talking to yourself for a living is you sort of like forget that there's a whole world out there.
Yeah. It's only really bad when they stop paying you to do it, which is kind of my problem.
That is true.
Yeah, so anyway, we do have a full hour for you here. And it is the third Wednesday or Thursday of the month here. So we do have the district attorney's office joining us. Hunter Spindle and Jeannie Yeager will be back with us. So we'll talk law and dogs. Law and dog. Dog and law. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Dogs and law. We'll talk. And I heard we're going to talk about salsa.
Dogs. I was like, what is a lawn dog? I want one of those.
I want to be a lawn dog.
Lawn dog sounds like a great gig, right?
I feel like it's a good name for a restaurant.
Right, the lawn dog.
Come on to Lawn Dogs. I don't know what you serve. I mean, hot dogs would be, I don't know. I think that's too expected.
Fancified hot dogs.
Maybe eat foods that look like hot dogs that aren't hot dogs.
That's like, that's the trend of like.
No, I mean like maybe like a fish sandwich, but in the form of a hot dog.
In the shape of a hot. Everything just goes onto one of those rollers.
Yeah.
But that's
things
like
in tubes that you don't normally think things in tubes.
That's the new trend though, is like coming up with like a whole restaurant just based on like mac and cheese.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, maybe.
So your whole thing is just everything in dog form.
Yeah.
The lawn dog.
Get a veggie dog.
Yeah. It's just a piece of broccoli just on a roller.
Just give him a carrot and say, what the hell are you in a hot dog place you're a veggie for?
Well,
give him a carrot and kick him out.
If you need R&D, you got to go to 7-Eleven. Those people figured out how to put anything into roll form. Cheeseburgers, pizza.
Well, and I like whoever is in the marketing department of 7-Eleven because not only do they create these fictitious foods, but they create names that almost make them sound like food.
Oh, yeah.
Like a quesarito.
That's one of my favorite things in Taco Bell.
Right. And chorito. You know, these types of terms. Tacadilla. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so there's the experts at pushing two words together.
I just want to know, and this is something that I've, since we're talking about hot dog, and now I'm going to wrap this up because we've got actual stuff to talk about.
Yeah, law and dogs.
But I want to know, because I see it so much more here than I did in other places.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's and when I do see it, it's in a Mexican restaurant. So I wonder if this is a Mexican thing.
Okay.
Hot dogs on hamburgers. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm all on board. Sign me up. But if you see, it is not uncommon to go to a Mexican restaurant that serves hamburgers, and they have a hamburger that has hot dog on it.
I'm not super familiar.
They'll
with
butterfly it,
Right.
and everything. But there's a hot dog on it, and God bless you, it's an amazing idea.
Sure.
But is that a Mexican thing? And if so, how the heck did that become?
I don't know,
because neither one of these items feel Mexican culture to me.
If you remember, though, Carl's Jr. a few years back made the All-American Burger, which had a hot dog and potato chips on top. So,
right, and American, they pull them out from time to time, but to consistently see them on a menu every day, it's always in a Mexican restaurant.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've had one in Carlsbad.
Yeah?
Like La Grande Victoria, right up the street. They're one. It's an amazing hot dog, but it's literally got every meat animal known to man on this thing. It's got pig and I think chicken and fish and cows and everybody else on this sandwich. It's delicious, but I just didn't.
How's the burger cooked, though? That's
Oh, it's great. The burger is on point.
every time I've ever had one, it's been like, fried so
Yeah. No, this one was juicified and I've always, people that listen to the show any length of time know my favorite burger condiment is more meat.
There's more meat.
So it's like mustard, ketchup, no more meat, please. Bacon, ham, chili. All right, throw all that on there. Yeah. The only one that I think is an abomination, and it makes me mad that I'm seeing it all over social media, is these chefs that fry up and cook up or grill up this delicious burger. And then they make this cheese goop and put it in this cup thing and then just dump it on there.
Yeah.
And it makes the burger completely impossible to eat like a burger.
Well, yeah.
Because it's literally a burger that's drowning in 8 pounds of nacho cheese.
You're knife and forking it at that point, but it's more for just for the show.
And I get it. I love nacho cheese too. I love all these things, but dang, do we really need to put it all on one plate at the same time? We don't need to do this.
No, you're right. They should just serve it in a cup on the side.
Well, at this point, you're not feeding people. You're just telling them how long they've got to live.
Yeah.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
Hey,
I get it.
We're going out at 45, but doggone it, we're going out in style. And they're going to have to grease the door to get us out of here.
And I applaud you for trying, because we got to try. But who are the people that consistently keep eating these bad boys? Because there must be, because they keep making them. So I don't get it.
Americans love a challenge.
Anyway. All right, let's talk lawn dogs now. It's 9:16. Here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty mild today, but it will be cooling off for the upcoming weekend. We have a cold front on the way. For now, sunny and about 70 and a little bit breezy today. We'll drop into the mid and upper 20s with clear skies for the overnight hours. A lot cooler on Friday. We will keep the sunshine, but our afternoon high stays in the low 40s. Low 40s on Saturday, upper 40s on Sunday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Sorry, the National Weather Service is not working properly today. The website isn't. I don't know about the whole service, but the website. Yeah, they all took the day off or what. But I go to the main website today, and you go to the main page, it's fine. But if you try to type Roswell or any other city, it gives you a bunch of code, so it doesn't work. But I do have the Weather Channel's version, which is not as thorough. For today, we're supposed to hit 70 under sunny skies. Winds will be out of the northwest 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, we're expecting a few clouds, but clear for the most part. An overnight low of 29, which is still below freezing, but at least it's two numbers. Winds are out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For your Friday, we're getting cold again. 41, the expected high, under and now they're saying clouds in the morning, sun for the afternoon. Winds are out of the southeast at around 10 miles per hour. Friday night, we're looking at an overnight low of 23 degrees under clear skies. For Saturday, 44 for a high under mostly cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overnight low Saturday night into Sunday of 26 degrees. And then for Sunday, 51 under cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the south at around 10 miles per hour. And then we'll be up into the mid-60s for Monday. And then looks like after Monday, upper 50s for the week, 57, 58. Coldest I see is Friday at 55. But don't forget, it's New Mexico. Whatever they tell us next week's weather going to be, I think they're just throwing darts at a board and telling you it's going to snow. So we'll see. All right, it's at 9:18. We're going to take a quick 2.5-minute break, and then we'll talk to Hunter and Gina from the district attorney's office. Don't go away.
Fall time is almost here, and the holidays will be here before you know it. The Calico Cow invites you to move on into the cow and check out the new holiday fabrics arriving daily and take advantage of a huge sale on Brothers sewing machines now through the end of the year. Get free lessons, maintenance, and a first-year cleaning included. Fall into savings at the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, now at their new location, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Can't hear as well as you used to? That can happen to the best of us, but when you can't hear people speaking or birds chirping, it's time to take action. That's when it's time to call Howard Allman with Here on Earth Hearing Care Center. Howard has been helping people hear better for over 55 years. Howard is who helps the Artesia seniors with servicing their hearing aids of all makes with free cleaning and hearing evaluations, and he's ready to help you. Howard can share with you information on Audibel Intrigue AI hearing aids with many features you might not expect a hearing aid can do, such as using your hearing aids to stream calls, music, and more. Plus, health monitoring, count steps, even fall detection, all built in. Meet face-to-face with someone who can help you choose the right hearing aid for you. Call Howard at 575-622-0375, and he'll be glad to set up a time to meet with you. That's 575-622-0375 for Howard Allman of Here on Earth Hearing Care Center.
What's the buzz all about? The Honey Depot, Artesia's little store with a whole lot more. You'll find an unbelievable selection of one-of-a-kind gifts and decor. Everything from candles to soaps, books and Bible study journals, home decor, local honey, seasonings, candies, and more. Not to mention a staff that's sweeter than honey. So buzz on in. If you can't find it here, you probably don't need it. Open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5:30, Saturdays 10 to 6, closed Sunday and Monday at 104 West Hermosa Drive in Artesia. Shop local. Shop Honey Depot, the little store with a whole lot more.
Get your tickets now for Red Zone Presents A Night with Jason Witten, coming to Artesia Saturday, April 13th. Jason Witten is an 11-time Pro Bowl selection and 2-time NFL All-Pro with the Dallas Cowboys and is currently head coach at Liberty Christian High School in Argyle, Texas. Jason is one of sports' top leaders on and off the field. Tickets are free, but you must have a ticket to enter. To get your free tickets, contact the Artesia Chamber of Commerce. This invitation courtesy of H.F. Sinclair. Excited about Jason Witten coming to Artesia.
Playing dance music can help ward off mosquitoes. Now you have a reason to invite Pitbull to your next pool party. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from the District Attorney's Office, 5th Judicial District, we have Hunter Spindle with us here, Deputy DA, and Jeannie Yeager, I always forget your actual title. I can tell you what you do, but the actual name of it, I botch it every time.
So I have a couple of titles.
That's probably why I botch it.
Yeah. So courthouse dog coordinator.
Yes.
Victim service coordinator, and then the VPP coordinator.
Yes.
So,
always you're kind of the heart of the DA's office a little bit.
No.
And heart, I mean, like you're the one that's got to be the calm in the room for everybody. You know what I mean?
The victim advocates, yeah.
The
victim advocates are, yes.
So I always look at that as kind of that, you're the lighthouse and the beacon of the storm sometimes. You know what I mean?
Luckily, there's a lot of us.
For a lot of people, that's kind
of their job is to try to keep me sane.
Yeah.
and make sure I'm not talking, too high above who I'm meeting with.
I need one of those people.
She tries to put it in plain English because us attorney brains, we can't do it.
Right. Well, and let's face it, by training, lawyers think in a black and white world. You know what I mean? That's just, I mean, yes, you live life, but at the end of the day, a lot of what you're dealing with is black and white.
Correct.
And unfortunately, the legal world is full of black and white in a world that's in a sea of gray. So, sometimes when you think in black and white, you need someone that can see gray to remind you a little bit.
Well, if he sees the look on my face where I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Then he's like, okay, wait, I've got to change the language a little bit.
I gotta figure out how to change this.
Sure.
I gotta reach Gina.
I need someone to interpret for me.
Right. Plus, you spent so much time learning Latin in school, right? So,
Legalese more than anything.
yeah, it's all Latin-based, talking and all that. So, but anyway, for folks that don't know, the district attorney's office, a lot of times these two, but members come each month and we just talk a little bit about just life at the DA's office, what it's like, what things from y'all's perspective, basically. I went full on cowboy with the y'alls there.
Y'all.
But yeah, because we have our ideas based on our lanes we're in on how things work. And y'all, again, two y'all.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm Southern with you, man.
Y'all live in a world
Ain't nothing wrong with y'all.
That everything you do, there's a Hollywood version of it that people tend to think that's the way of the world. And then you have to separate. No, this isn't Law and Order. We don't solve the case in an hour. It's not how that works here. We got
TV makes things difficult for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives people a bad sense of reality. They think everything flows like the TV shows.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong, I'm as big a fan of like Law and Order SVU as probably
I would gather there's part of you that's a lawyer today because you like watching that kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It also aggravates me sometimes because I'm like, at least be, realistic. Don't say it's going to trial.
Yeah.
It shows the next day in trial. That doesn't happen.
Well, in my world, because I was in the military before, I was a bomb loader in the Air Force. So my wife loves the movie Top Gun.
Great movie.
She will not
My
watch.
favorite.
And I love the movie. It's entertaining. I love them. They're great movies.
The only thing about that movie, the best part about that movie is the volleyballs. When they're playing volleyball.
I get 3 guesses why.
It's a great scene.
But have you seen the Maurice one?
I love the new one.
They do their version of that one is like
The
a beach football
yeah.
scene. But it's basically the same
Offense,
scene.
defense at the same time.
It's based on Star Wars.
Yeah, and no Kenny Loggins.
No, really, it's the same story.
Oh, yes.
Top Gun?
Yeah, Top Gun 2.
I would argue there's probably about 30 movies that you could just parallel that whole thing.
But it was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But anyway, my wife loves that movie, and I can't sit through that movie without guffawing in all the military stuff.
Right.
It's entertaining, but put it this way. I'll just say this and shut up, and then we'll move on to real stuff. But the second Top Gun movie would have never happened in real. That mission would have never been done by people. They would have sent some robot satellite thing and have been done in an hour.
Right.
We wouldn't have had a 3-hour movie to talk about that. But again, that being said, I love the movie's entertaining. It was fun and everything else. But if you're looking for realism, you might want to.
Well, half the time in the shows, like some of the objections and what happens, I'm like, that would never happen in real life.
Right.
I mean, or like where the defendant stands up screaming at the court or whatever. I'm like,
that has happened.
Yeah, but typically the judge doesn't just let it go
Right.
and nothing happens.
To me, just like based on my time as serving as a juror in a couple cases, and I've spent a fair amount of time in front of the boob tube, so I'm an expert in that one. But anyway,
You have your law degree.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a doctor TV watcher. But anyway, but I know enough to know that. Plus, a lot of the drama soliloquies that the attorneys give in a court proceeding on television would never, ever. The lawyer just can't sit up there and pontificate for 20 minutes.
No.
Describing this theory to you.
I'm going to be objecting.
Yeah.
Is there a question here, Judge?
You get a little license there in your opening and closing arguments. When it comes to testifying and interviewing witnesses and all, you don't get to tell this story to a witness and get them in a gotcha moment like that. You ask question, they answer. They ask question, you can't lead the witness.
No.
There's a whole thing called leading. You can't do that.
Right.
And
theatrics are a part of it at trial, for opening and closing and sometimes in your questions and how you do it. And a skilled attorney can maybe have a gotcha moment.
A bit of flair with it.
Yeah, a little bit of flair, but they're really, most of the time in most cases, there isn't a gotcha.
Right.
Because both sides know all the evidence that's coming. Now, maybe a juror member may be like, what?
Right.
But
yeah,
you're not going to get a whole room of. You're not going to have the gasp moment in the room like you do on
not
TV,
typical.
where the kid there's been real numbers like, oh.
Yeah, no, the courtroom's pretty black and white. There's very, very, very gray. There's not much of that gray area because you can't have it. And that's what a lot of people are like, well, they're just doing this. There's only certain things that we can bring into the courtroom. There's only certain things that the attorneys can ask and bring in. So there's a lot of stuff that jurors, people that are in the courtroom don't see that the district attorney sees, and reasons why we bring the case to court.
95% probably of evidence we can't even use most of the time. We can't put it in. Now, granted, that's a varying case by case, but I mean, most people don't think about that. They know, like, sometimes victims and family members know about all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, I understand that, and we know about it, but I can't use it.
Sure.
There's no way I can bring it into the case.
Social media does not help us
Right.
at all, because people are like, well, this is done and this is done, and people already have that in their head. So we're like, hey, if you guys know anything about this, you cannot be on this, because what you know and what you've heard, newspaper, news, whatever, is not what we can bring in. So we need.
And unfortunately, that media and stuff can sway.
Yes.
Well, I have a case coming from Carlsbad that I tried prosecuting in Carlsbad that ended up in a mistrial that is now moving up here. Yes. So because of that very same thing, because it was a news article, about it all the time, that I didn't have any person on that jury that could sit there and be fair and impartial. And that's something I have to determine. And finding it is, can you sit on this jury and not come in with a preconceived notion, aka your mind is made up before you're already there.
I'm kind of curious, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of experience doing your job and things, but you're not 60 years old. You haven't been doing this for 50 years. You know what I mean? So
I'm 33.
Yeah, so I'm curious, like some of the other district attorneys and other attorneys that you deal with, some of the ones that maybe have been doing this 40 years and things, do they see a shift where a lot of cases that weren't mistrials are now, because of social media and more of that being in the mainstream now? Is that like, are we seeing those numbers increase over this time that social media is now more a part of the mainstream?
I would say yes, that we are seeing. It's not an astronomical shift.
Sure.
But it is
enough to notice.
It's significant enough to notice, and it's primarily on the big cases. Most people don't care about, a robbery, that sort of thing. We may have an article on it, but most people haven't read it.
It's one that's got the best dirt. It's like anything else. The one that's got the most gossip, the most salaciousness to it.
Right.
The most, and usually by that I mean relationship-wise, who begat who to what for what.
Yeah,
and that's
a lot
people,
of
people
murders
care
and child abuse is really what.
That's where people's
people care
interests
about.
are drawn. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's because it's shoved down their throat.
Sure. Well, yeah, you look at, like, you get on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it today, and, you look at, I'm a stalker on that. I don't really engage, but I like.
You could be arrested for being a stalker. You
Well,
know that.
yeah, I guess I could. And I just outed myself. But I just
I heard nothing.
I just kind of read and sit in the corner and be a wallflower and watch this stuff. But what you do notice is when you get to the part where the things you subscribe to are there, but then they're like, well, these are things we think you like, and we're going to send you over here. And that's where it gets inundated with, and I don't know why they think I like this. Maybe it's just because where I stop, but I literally get hit with all these videos of people getting killed or shot or dying, or incidents of something happening. And it's always those incidents. It's like, I didn't ask for this. You just decided I needed it. And it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it, but it's a train wreck. You can't help but not look sometimes. It's just, it is what's going on there. And I think that's kind of to your point, Gina. We're getting so inundated
in
with
your
it.
face. And, the jurors are so important to these cases they're the ones that hear everything, and they're the ones that are making this decision. And we really, really need jurors to be there and be on board and listen. And
I mean, do you think could this lead to where we're going to have to sequester jurors and stuff more often now? I know that's way too expensive to do that, but I mean, is it getting to a point where it could? That could be the path we're going?
Possibly. So jurors take an oath, and when they're sworn in, that they won't be like trying to look up the case or anything like that on social media. Try to read anything in the news, watch anything. If they're watching television and something about the news comes up, they're supposed to turn the channel.
Right.
Like they take an oath to do that. Can we prevent them from doing it? No, but if we find out about it, that's when we can move to try to have that juror removed and replaced with an alternate.
Yeah.
If we can get it. Now, if we have an issue at the onset before we even have a jury picked, then we may have to ask for a new panel or try to, move the case, that sort of thing.
So really, imagine when a case comes or when an incident happens, so to speak. I mean, you guys are attorneys. You'll see something in the news, so-and-so's arrested or something that's a big case that everyone's seeing. Before it gets to you guys already have a heads up. It's like, all right, look, this one's got a lot of attention.
And sadly, sometimes I find out about a case because I've seen it in the newspaper,
right,
or because of, I see it on TV, which is not how it's supposed to be, but I can't always prevent that either. With my position on big cases, I'm supposed to be a phone call to let me know that it's coming. So I have a heads up at least before anybody else does.
Sure.
But
does this also impact the disclosure side of things for you? Whereas, and this is getting back to, again, real court is not like television here, where there isn't surprises. The defense attorney is supposed to have every piece of information that the prosecution attorney does.
Right.
Everyone should know the same thing, how it's presented, what is admissible, what's not. That's a different conversation. But as far as knowing the circumstances of the case, knowing there isn't again, to the TV moment where it's like, we found the murder weapon. That's not how it works.
No.
All of this is transparent on the table. Every attorney, every side of the case has a visual, and they have access to all of this.
Especially in New Mexico. New Mexico has an open discovery rule.
Right.
Where it's an ethics violation if I don't give everything over, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Other states don't have that. I originally practiced in Virginia, and I can tell you in Virginia, the defense isn't entitled to anything until 10 days prior to trial.
Interesting.
And then if they want anything...
I agree with that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And if they want anything sooner, they have to do a motion to the court and show good cause, is what it says, in order to get that discovery prior to it. So it's very open. It's open book here, and in a lot of ways, it's a very good thing.
Yeah, I was saying, because at the end of the day, and this is the problem, the media already puts the assumption of guilt on things.
Correct.
And yes, I get it. Looks like a duck, talks like a duck. We're going to think it's a duck. I get that.
Correct.
I'm a human being. I'm not stupid. But this is why you see the statue with the blind. Justice is blind. That's all that goes out the window.
Yeah.
You are, even if 30 million people saw you shoot that person, you're still innocent until we go through the details and determine without a reasonable doubt that the evidence points to you doing this crime.
Right.
And yeah, and okay. And this is where the devil gets the details. We all saw 30,000 people saw you shoot you, but why were you shooting them? Was it self-defense? Well, then, okay, you did shoot them, but is it warrant of you being charged with murder now?
Was there some mitigating factor, some intervening reason that it happened? Yeah.
And so that's why it's got to be that way.
Right.
You've got to turn over every rock to see what we're dealing with, to make without absolute any, reason of a doubt here that this person committed the crime that we're accusing them of.
Right.
And so that's why it's so important. And that's where it does get tricky, because at the end of the day, you're judged by a jury of your peers. Or, that's the term.
And the process is not easy. It's not easy on our victims, their families, witnesses. We're still dealing with COVID backlog. So people, memories, things change in your mind, which is normal. They tell you that you're not a robot. You're not going to remember everything that you said. So we understand that. But then people disappear. People move away. It gets harder for us to bring people in that were there. So when we have all this evidence, that person that told us that is no longer available. That piece is gone.
Sure. Plus emotions change.
Right.
The closer you are to the incident, the higher the level of emotion.
Correct.
Also, more likely that they've got the gumption or the desire to see this to its end.
Correct.
As time passes, as hurdles hit, as roadblocks come in that kind of damper that mood a little bit, people's minds, time heals. They're a little less angry. They're maybe a little less cooperative and willing to prosecute this person. Especially if it's someone they're intimately connected to, a family member or someone.
And we see that a lot.
Yeah.
And you may have someone who testifies at preliminary hearing and has a really good testimony during preliminary hearing. And then all of a sudden, we're getting up into district court and we're getting relatively close to trial time. And defense is asking, because they're entitled to it, to pretrial interviews. And now we're one of the only states who have what's considered a pretrial interview as a right. But they, defense may ask for it, and then we got to go out and find them, serve them in order to have them be there, be present. And if we can't find them, they're not present. They can try to move to suppress them or exclude them as a witness, and that could make or break our case. And a lot of people, I know, because I've talked to many witnesses and family members, because they just don't understand. Just because they testified at prelim doesn't mean I can use their testimony at prelim. I have to prove that the defendant caused them not to be there. Gotcha. And if I don't have any evidence of that, them just not showing up or us not being there, sure, I can try to get a warrant for their arrest or try to move for contempt. But at the same time, we have to weigh what is the best thing to do for that case. Because sometimes I want to get a warrant for someone's arrest for a trial and or a pretrial interview. But do I also want to arrest someone for that purpose? Could that prevent them from wanting to deal with police ever again?
Absolutely.
Or ever wanting to be a cooperative witness with the DA's office, for instance? So that's something I have to weigh.
That's something that I don't think a lot of people even realize that attorneys have to deal with. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the battle to win the war.
Right.
And what I mean by that, we're going to lose this case because of the evidence here. But if I try to do tactics here that at the end of the day still may not get what I want, may end up causing more damage to future cases and future incidents and stuff. So, I don't think most of us think about that, but that is a problem or an issue that attorneys like yourself, DAs, have to think about.
And the other aspect of that too is the emotional impact on the victim or the victim's families and that sort of thing. That's something we have to weigh too.
Sure.
And which a lot of people don't necessarily agree with, but a lot of times the victim or their family may be saying, no, I don't want to go to trial. I don't want to testify. Especially if it's a child,
sure,
it can be really...
there's a fine line.
There's a fine line, and there's been proven that they can have long-lasting effects,
sure,
like PTSD, that sort of thing.
I kind of garnered a question here, and it may be another can of worms, but it kind of, when it comes to that kind of, charging and prosecuting someone, like you said, if it's something particularly heinous, we're obviously conviction, everything, you 9 times out of 10, you need the victim's support to make the conviction happen. But like you said, there's cases where the victims aren't cooperating for whatever reason that is.
Right.
At what point, is there a point in it where something is so heinous or so, where you're like, I understand you don't want to prosecute, but what's going on here? You have no choice. We need to prosecute this person. Even, you know what I mean? Like if it's a rape or something, but the only evidence is put this person here, but it's like this is so bad. We can't just let them walk because you're not willing to cooperate here. What
it's few and far between.
Okay,
I would say that. And Gina, jump right in if you can think of anything.
I have one right now that it's a homicide. It started out as a battery, and you know which one I'm talking about now. The family, it's a family situation, of course, but they don't want it to happen.
Gotcha.
But we can't let them get away with what happened. So we have to follow through. We have to find justice. We have to find justice where we can. We can't always get it, and we hate that part of our job.
Right.
Our job is to make sure our community's safe, that we get justice for our community. Sometimes our hands are tied by the laws, by motions, by exclusions, by all of this stuff, by victims, by witnesses. But our job, and the reason we're all doing our job, is because we want justice and we want to help our community. But there's sometimes that we can't get that justice, and it literally sucks.
Right.
But we just can't. Our hands are tied.
So is it kind of like the Al Capone move where it's like, we know this guy's a mobster killer and all this stuff. We can't prove it. Oh, wait, tax evasion. Now we can throw him in jail. I mean, is it a little like that, or is it different than that?
So
go ahead.
It's one of those things that if the police know that this person did something, and we're having an issue trying to prove it, maybe they're a little bit more watchful of that person.
Yeah.
But I can't direct them to do anything. So and I don't. That's that gets into that's blurring the lines between what is
vigilante
my job,
justice,
right?
There's no gray area,
right? And I don't have the authority to investigate, right? While we have investigators, their sort of cases, they can investigate stuff and they can try to file a case and then we can prosecute it that way.
Is that the DA's office or just the deputy DA? Like, can Diana Luce come in and say, hey, something shady here, I want to investigate that? Or is that what you're saying, the entire office, including her?
So she can direct our investigators to investigate.
She's got the final say.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. Because she is Diana is the top law enforcement officer in the district. She can direct her investigators to investigate into something.
Gotcha.
But Diana can't be involved in the investigation. Neither can any of the attorneys.
Gotcha.
So we can say, okay, something seems shady here. We're going to send our investigators to look at it. Right. Who are law enforcement officers, that sort of thing.
Because she kind of has the dog in the fight. She's got to play Swizzer.
Yeah. She just says, hey, please take a look at this, review it, and then from there, if you find anything, present it to me. We'll take a look at it, and then we'll see if it's something we can prosecute or not.
Okay, I was curious. I was just kind of we're talking here. I just saw the time, so I do want to change gears a little bit here.
Sure.
I want to talk about I guess we could say the more fun side of the district attorney's office. And when we were talking about Gina and how she works with victims and tries to kind of hold their hand through the process of going through a court proceeding. One of the big tools that this office is kind of spearheaded and created is what we call the DA dog program. And think of it just like you would like your Casa dogs or support animals. These are dogs that are specifically trained to kind of come in and just be, well, what dogs do, lovers and petters and what
make
they
you
do.
feel better.
Right. You're in a bad mood and the dog comes and puts a head in your lap and wants to pet you or rolls around the floor. Yeah.
The one person thing in the room that does not judge.
Yes, exactly.
Loves you endlessly.
Happy to see every time you walk through the door.
Yes. Yes.
But and so really you guys have come up with this program that we get these trained dogs that unfortunately cost a lot of money to put one of these dogs together.
Yeah.
But they are making such great progress in getting witnesses to feel more comfortable about sharing their experiences, which means more convictions, which means more people are getting justice served.
And it works. It works.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the attorneys, everyone in the room is saying, man, this has been a huge asset to our case here.
And the new attorneys that come in are like, okay, there's a dog. Until they use the dog, and Hunter's actually had the dog in a courtroom, and
I have
and seen it work.
So you're sold. You're like,
it was on a homicide case, and it was with a child who was a victim, but it was his sister that was deceased, and the dog was with him the whole time he was testifying, and I mean it was night and day difference between how he interacted just with me, how he did in court.
That was their friend in the room. They had something they could
Yes.
focus on.
Something they had control over.
And some
we've
people,
always
that's
talked about control and, hey, I told this dog to sit and this did it. Oh my gosh. And then the dog like wiggles and smiles. Because our dogs smile.
Right.
They do smile.
Well, dogs are just by nature.
Yeah. Each dog has their own
personality.
quirk,
Yeah.
personality. Kiki like wiggles her whole body.
Yeah.
Tina, who's in Hobbs, wiggles her whole body.
That might be a lab thing.
Duke is very like, oh, so excited, but he's got a goofy side, so he'll lay on his back. Beaumont will lay on his back, and when he lays on his back, he's got that upside down smile.
Yeah.
He will wrap around your legs, pretty much, or lay across your feet. So they have their
Just
own
different ways
thing.
of affection.
Yes, but
Right.
they will all lay right next to you. Will all just you can talk to them, you can pet them.
And when he got nervous, you could see him
Just as
kind
you
of like
reaching
reach
for the
down and
dog.
pet him,
Yes. And like you said,
it's
these
fine.
dogs are not cheap. The price doubled. Of course, everything has doubled. We're up to $12,500 per dog. Luckily, we have a grant from Leprino to help with most of it. So we're still in the process.
But
of
do you
working.
need more than this?
We always, you always, when you have any kind of business.
That's why we do fundraisers for.
Yeah, and this is kind of where I'm saying, if people are listening and they're listening to our conversation, and look, quite frankly, I'm sure they listen to like, it's frustrating the process that you guys have to go through.
Yes.
Well, this is a way that the community can get involved through this nonprofit and support and make an impact in there, because through these animals, we are getting good results. We're getting cases that may not have had a conviction are getting convictions now. We're having victims that didn't feel like they got justice are now getting justice. And it's all because we have a furry friend with wiggle butt syndrome hanging out in the room.
Right.
Doing this. So it is well worth the thousands of dollars it costs to get a dog trained to be able to do this.
And believe me, I was skeptical at first until I watched it happen. And I know some people probably listening here will be like, "Oh yeah, well I have a dog, but what's the the big deal with it?" People are different with dogs. I mean, let's just be
There's a
honest.
trust.
Right.
People love animals where they don't necessarily love people.
Right. And especially
that's-
kids
yeah.
and victims of cases. They
We started the nonprofit a few years back due to budget cuts for the state. The handlers, some attorneys had talked, but so the handlers got together and we decided that we needed to keep the dog program going, but we knew the state couldn't afford to keep the program going. They needed the attorneys and personnel more than the tools. So we started the nonprofit and we lease the dogs, $25 each to the state per dog, $25 per dog to the state each year to be under their liability insurance. The foundation pays for everything else for the dogs, for the handlers. So there's not much out of pocket for the state. The handlers volunteer the extra time. But we wanted, like I said, we saw what it did and we wanted to keep this going.
Sure.
We are starting this, I'm starting to interview for my third dog.
All right.
So our third generation.
Do you have a dog
is 6 and 7.
translator to speak dog?
I know, yes. Yes, we
Gina speaks dog.
Gina speaks dog.
You know the
yeah.
roughs.
It's like Gina speaks dog.
So I go up in February to start my interview process for my new baby, for the 5th for Chaves County, Eddie and Lee. And of course, if the state needs us someplace else, Diana's very gracious of loaning us out to go take the dogs to those other counties. But we have a salsa sale coming up.
Everybody loves salsa.
Yes. So we have hot,
Homemade
medium,
and
yes,
excellent.
Hot, medium, mild. We'll have it. We're calling it Super Bowl salsa. So we'll deliver on, I think the Super Bowl's the 12th or the 9th.
Yeah, it's that first or second week of February.
So the Friday before Super Bowl, we'll be delivering salsa.
Okay.
We're working on a Dog Days of Summer fundraiser auction type thing.
Okay, like a
And
silent
then-
auction or
Yes.
cocktail combo.
We're trying to figure that out. We're in the works. We're talking on that. And then we have our golf tournament set.
Okay.
And that is going to be October 19th. So this will be our second one. First one worked out great. We had blast. Those are our main. We'll have little ones in between. We'll do more salsa throughout the year, but those are our main ones this year. And that's what we're doing to raise
How much
funds.
is the salsa going to be?
It's going to be $10 a quart, and it's a
quart
quart
jar.
so it's a good
Okay.
size. You're
Good deal. So if you need-
it's not a little bit.
So if you need a gallon, you need 4 of those bad
Yes,
boys. So,
yes.
How does one get salsa ordered?
So the dog's Facebook page, which is 5th DA Dogs. I always get that wrong.
If you type,
I was like, don't ask me, I'd be lying.
If you type in 5th Judicial District DA Dogs, it should pop right up, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking, or you can find me, Gina. You can track me down. I always have, you guys can reach out to me on my Facebook page, of course, and it's Gina Yeager, or my cell phone at 575-626-2422.
Or you can call the office and we can
You guys can find me there as well. I mean,
just ask for Gina.
Awesome.
yeah, I'm
Sweet.
easy to find.
You're going to eat gallons of salsa anyway this in the coming weeks. We don't even need a Super Bowl to do that.
No.
We're going to do it anyway. So stock up, get you enough for Super Bowl. And what's going to happen is you're going to be like, oh, that salsa's good. I want to get some more, but you're going to be out because you literally drank it all at the Super Bowl. So you're going to need a
And it
spare.
has been done.
Yeah.
I have the opposite problem. I always buy too much to where I'm like trying to get it done before it starts going bad.
That's right. That's when you're like,
It's freezable.
That is true.
well, that's when
I've
you
done
start
that.
calling your questionable friends to come over
Right.
and visit to finish the salsa.
Come eat salsa. Chips of salsa. What else are we doing? Nothing. Just chips of
Chips
salsa.
and
Bring it
salsa.
to the office. Just bring it to the office.
Good news is there's a lot of it.
Right.
But reach out, and that way you can get 2. That way you got one for when you wish you had some, but you gave it all away at the Super Bowl party. You got some here.
And the
then-
extra hot is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
So, or just for those connoisseurs, like for medium, is that like New Mexico normal medium or the rest of the world's medium?
New Mexico.
Okay, just checking.
No.
Because I know if you get these people from, pardon the joke, but New York City, they do, their medium is
Salsa with
not-
no flavor.
Yeah, their medium is not going to be
Yeah.
our medium.
No. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the extra hot's hot.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's like
It'll
it's-
light you up.
It makes you sweat. I'll put it that way.
I do like hot, but when it's to a point where I'm just crying because I can't eat,
But
then
you
I'm
don't
like, that's
stop.
yeah, you keep going.
Yeah.
Well,
That's I'm like, all right, maybe we should back it off a little
Right.
bit.
What I like about the hot and the extra hot is that it's still full of flavor. It's
Yeah.
not just heat.
Well,
that's the problem that you.
And that's why I kind of like
Is that cilantro?
the Latin spice versus more of like an Indian or Asian spice, because to me that Latin spice has flavor,
Right.
where Asian spice is more about hot, and it tastes like hot. You know what I mean? Well, you eat a green chili, there's flavor there.
Right.
You eat wasabi, and I'm like, I taste hot. I taste nothing else but hot. So
I don't know. I love me some Asian food.
I love
And
Asian food.
And Asian hot. And
I
like
love Asian
hot,
food,
so-
but I just tend to.
When I go to Thai, I always get Thai hot. 'cause
I'd rather have a jalapeno or a green chili versus a ghost pepper or some Indian pepper,
Right.
something like that. Just me.
No, but we appreciate everybody's support. Like I said,
Absolutely.
the dogs are there. It's one of the tools we have at the district attorney's office to help our community, and that's all we want to do.
Absolutely. So please, if you want to get involved, it's a great way to get involved. Please, if you want to, maybe you love doing salsa or you love planning events and want to volunteer to lend your services to help the DA Dog program, because it really, and the other thing I want to do, we're in the legislative session, just get underway. I know probably not a lot for this one, but to me, I look at this as like, we get this money coming in for mental health and all of this. I could make an argument that this program would qualify. Yes, we're talking the legal side, but let's face it, this is mental health related stuff. Why can't we invest that money into this? To me, maybe that's a conversation with our legislatures and, some emails and things to maybe put that conversation
And
on
I
the
want to
table.
say one more thing. If you guys don't like the laws, reach out to your legislatures and your senators and your reps and talk to them. They're the ones up there making these changes. So
Because I can guarantee you the DA's office doesn't like a lot of it either.
and I love that, that you guys are raising money and doing all this, but and I'm not saying we shouldn't, but you should get help for this. There should be, maybe they can't pay for it all. I get it. Money, I get it. But this is a worthy enough program that the state needs to invest actual money into it and stop making it a charity case. It needs to be part of the solution and part of the curriculum, not looked at as some Western medicine mumbo jumbo weirdness.
Right.
It is legitimately helping, making a difference. It is doing good things for our legal system, and it also helps with mental health. These are intertwined, one and the same. We need to put these together.
And if the state would help, the more DAs would get these dogs.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, we don't have enough of them in the state.
Absolutely. So when you're writing your legislators about everything you're seeing in the session this month, slip a few of those notes in there too, just to put it on the radar. Nothing's going to happen this next 30 days, obviously, but you got to put the bee in the bonnet. You got to set the table. You've got to put this on the radar of the legislators, so when they realize they champion, then it starts getting into the right committees and the right meetings and all that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for what you do.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime. We look forward to these conversations every month, and if we need more or less or anything we can do to help out that, obviously as we get close to these tournaments and these different events here for the DA dogs, we're going to need to get you in a little bit more to promote those and get some sponsors and get
we would love that.
That'd be great.
Fork over some cash for this.
We would love that. We will. The foundation, the 501, will take your money.
It's money well spent.
Yes.
This is, if you want to fix problems in the state, these are the kind of things that fix them.
Right.
This is what it is. It's you look at medicine. I'm already going over time. But you look at medicine, and medicine is like preventative or give you a pill to fix it. And there ain't no pills in the legal world to fix this. It's outside of the box thinking. It's thinking from things from a different perspective without compromising the spirit of what we're trying to do here. Yes. And this DA dog program is the antithesis of that type of thinking to me.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Make the state better one dog at a time.
Absolutely. This is how you do it. You do it this way. And there's no other way to do it. It's just, they'll tell you 20 different ways, but it won't. It'll make feel good, may sound good, but it won't do it.
Right.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, 10 o'clock. We got to go. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your day. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
By a powerful storm that hit over the weekend.